everybody. Welcome back to Wampelville. Welcome back to a frozen, very chilly Lothlorien, at least according to these guys. This was our stream from last night. This is Thursday stream. We're going to try and do some more of our Galadrhim Cav right here. Now, where did she go? There she is. So I did put the snow and some of the icicle effects on there. Hey there, Armored Wolf. I can't remember if I was using the fine or the ultra fine snow mix on this. I think it was maybe the fine whatever, but yeah, we got the icicles. They're starting to clear up now. Getting a little bit clearer. Hey there, Ryan and Landrast. So Landrast, that unit's looking really fantastic. And yeah, I still haven't had a chance to try and locate those files there. Printable scenery, right, Landrast? That's what that is. Yeah, we'll have to check them out, and we'll have to snag ourselves some of that good stuff. So great to see you again there, Ryan. Let's do this the same way we've been doing before. Yeah, okay, that is still viable. Guess I don't even need to get more of the asphaltum out here either. So we're just gonna start doing the dry brushy stuff here like always. Get this down into here. So, oh yeah, maybe we'll move this one out of the way. But yeah, like I said, we got the snow on there. We got the icicles. Yeah, that'd be fantastic there, Landrast. Now, Landrast, do you use any kind of, well, let's see. There's got to be some infill on those. I think I've been doing something like 10 or 15% infill or something. Maybe just around the edges. I don't know how many layers thick just the river part is. What would you say? I don't know, 7 to 10 layers thick, maybe. So I wasn't sure if there was any need for the, what is it? It's the oval type pattern. That's what I end up using. Don't remember what the heck it's called, though. Maybe we'll get a little bit of our radiant green into that, too. So great to see you again there, Ryan. Appreciate that. Tried to film a tutorial today. That didn't happen. We'll have to do that, I guess, tomorrow at some point. So I think we won't be able to have any more March vids. I think I still managed to do 8 or 9 or something like that, even with Adepticon. So hopefully that will be sufficient for folks. Okay, we just did that. Let's get our not white radiant indigo here. Speaking of indigo, I might actually throw a little bit of indigo into that. Let's dry this out here. And let's just make this happen like we've been doing. Super light touch on the brush. This is just so much easier than trying to fool around with the white primer experiment there. Landrast and Ryan, yeah, that just was. I knew it was not going to be exactly quick, but I said, whoa, this is beyond glacial. So let's not do this anymore. I can say that I did it. Well, that's one time for everything, right? Yeah, so I think Landrast, it's somewhere between 10 and 15 or something like that I end up doing. It might even depend on the piece. If it's a small enough thing and it just and it wouldn't demand too much, maybe I go with the 15 or something. But for the most part, yeah, it's probably more like 10. Depends on how much open area there is. It's almost a bit like Halloween stuff, right? There's certain things that, no matter how big it is, if you try and hollow it, weird things will happen. Yeah, let me see if I can stick this under here as well. Again, doing this right quick. Doesn't take very long. Yeah, we'll do some more of that over here. Also over here. Get some of that on this. And then we'll do our usual glazy things that we've been doing on all the other ones. I think I got I got 2 more horses. Those guys have swords and boards. I think this is the last of the archers, at least of the ones that are prepped. Where is, oh, here we go. And of course, This is what we're headed towards here, right? Set you back over there. Yeah, let's keep going a little bit more of this here. So I hope that everybody had themselves a good Saturday. After thinking that yesterday was Thursday, most of it was kept thinking today was Friday. Alright, now let's just grab ourselves this thing here, and maybe we'll try this one. Some indigo here. We're going to start breaking that down with some of our thinner here. Like so. Maybe a little dot of it here. Just throw that out here. Yeah, this is the same palette from yesterday. Figured no sense in just transferring all these colors over to a new one, since we're pretty much doing the same thing again. And then we'll just let this do its thing, go where it's gonna go. Do the pin line washy stuff. Hey there, Valfira, how you doing? Hopefully your Saturday was a good one. And again, happy Saturday to everybody. Let's see if I can't work this into here. Maybe a little more thinner, maybe. Something like that. And then, of course, we'll be doing the same indigo violet combination for the horse itself. We're just gonna keep it the same color horsies for all the horsies. Just doing the pin line washy stuff here. So therefore I didn't get a chance to do the air fryer salmon today, so maybe that's something we try and do tomorrow night or something like that. There's a little too much activity today. Let's get down here too. Get enough thinner so that it'll move easily, but well, not too much that it's completely broken out. We want to have a kind of a balance there. That's good, Valfira. Yeah, still trying to locate a bunch of stuff from before Adepticon that I had set aside. It was for those videos that I wanted to make once I got back. That didn't quite work out as intended. You know, Valfira, it's even if I don't end up eating it that day, it's kind of making stuff sort of like the slow cooker, right? Where the slow cooker is going to be feeding you for days to come. Alright, well, yeah, just gonna get into doing the little bit of pin line wash activity here. Let it do what it's gonna do. And then it happens really fast. So we'll do this, then we're gonna maybe get some of our turquoise out there. Probably do some dark glaze things on the base as well. Yeah, Valfira, that was, again, you try something, see if it's going to work or not. For me, it's all about the speed, and it was very apparent within the first few minutes that said, yep, this is going to take forever. So definitely not something I'll be doing anymore. Now, of course, other folks, they're totally free to do that. But it was a major reminder of why I just don't do the whole white primer thing, that's for sure. And did we do this on the other side? No, didn't do that over here. Looking forward to some of those, some of the new colors getting here, because that'll be certainly part of a video. Let me try some more of this right here. Now, I printed out a couple of other figures to potentially use for, well, it's sort of a skin tone video, but it really has more to do with trying out some different Mars, well, some different Pigment Red 101s, because there seems to be infinite number of colors made out of Pigment Red 101. It never ever ends. Alright. Some of our violet here. Some of the indigo, a little bit of the Mars black too. Where's that? Sinner. I'm just going to throw a drop of that in here is also. Let's do some more of this. Let's get some of that indigo in here. That might have been a little more Mars black than I was initially looking for, but that's okay. And then they'll just do this on the horsey. And again, that kind of gives it that little bit of a violet tinge to it. So it's a pretty darn common pigment, wouldn't you say there, Valfair? It just seems to be in everything. I mean, well, it's a very common. I mean, it's iron oxide, right? Can't get much more common than that. Where's the? Oh, there we go. So I was able to get. Where's Dark Queen Schmeladriel here? So as we speak, the icicles are getting clearer. The snow is all pretty much. That's all pretty much set. But she'll kind of join the rest of the compadres there with their snow effects. We'll try a little bit more of the black in there. So again, these are some of the 18-0s that kind of get maybe retired from the frontline service that end up being pretty good for this particular task here. I did start to prep some of the creature caster stuff. Was it from Judgment? I was briefly on the phone with Kathy's family there, so I was trying to file some mold lines on those, because it's sort of the prototypical board game plastic figures. Ironically enough, Valfear, well, that's something I was printing out just the other day, was yet more of them. That was supposed to be the basing video. Well, at least a bunch of those were featured in it, or supposed to be featured in it anyways. Because I want to do casualties, right? Bases with casualties on them. And I had a whole bunch of Rohirrim and other stuff that were supposed to be casualties on Warg bases, but of course can't find all that stuff. I had them all set aside in cases, but I might have had to pirate some of the cases for Adepticon, which means maybe that's why they're not where I thought they were. I have been trying to keep going with the terrain printing. And it looked like the printing goes ever on Elven / Dull Emerald ship was successful. So, well, that changes things pretty quickly. Where are we at here? What, 14, 15 minutes in? Yep. Almost forgot the main over here. Don't want to do that. Yeah, we're just going to let that flow in there, do what it's going to do. Actually, Velfairy, you just reminded me I have to get out the heavy gloss gel for that, and I also have to have the, you know, I will let that stuff get on the bridle and such there. And some of the boards and everything, I was kind of hoping to maybe figure out a way, if some of the printing goes over on any of that terrain had the little horse head type things, if I could somehow maybe in some kind of slicer just take those pieces and make them so I could print a bunch of just the Rohan horse heads. Either that or I'll just have to use some Sculpey on some of it. Okay, I think... Oh, no, let's do this too. Okay, we got you. Any other bits and pieces of our horsey here? I don't think so. I think we're good there. Okay, let's... Here, let me hit this. At least now I actually have some paper towels here. I had basically none last night. Velfira, actually I do have a whole bunch of Gondor buildings. We'll have to see if we can't do that on some of those as well. Alright, let me just take maybe this here. We actually have some... But I tell you, even this, the Cobalt Turquoise does seem to dry relatively quickly. So Velfira, I'm looking for the heads on the buildings. So here, let me show you here. So the on the crests of the building roof lines there, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. So yeah, plenty of horse. Actually, I have plenty of horse casualties, and they definitely look like Rohan guys that got kind of splattered there. But what I need are actually the buildings. Let's see something here. I thought that we had already done these, but apparently not so much. Not sure I'm going to be able to do that. Nope, we're just going to have to paint that out. There's no way that's going to happen without breaking this guy off the base, so they'll just have to be there. Or we'll just have to incorporate that into the freehand, one way or the other. Well, that certainly looks very different, doesn't it, with our turquoise? Well, you know how much I like the trophy heads on figs there, right, Velfair? We have plenty of that. But yeah, but it's all about stuff on the base where I don't know if any of these guys... no, but basically where they were standing on top of one of the Rohan type roofs there. Get the rest of this in here. Carries over here. We don't want to forget this part here. Ah, yeah, almost forgot this. So we did do this on the other side. We forgot to do it. We remembered here and didn't remember on the other side. No big deal. Actually, I'm just going to hit this whole thing here. Let's just do this the easy way instead of fooling around. Also, don't want to forget these portions right here. We kind of did that last time. Alright, that's all good. We're going to get some of the turquoise up there. Let's just do this now while we're thinking about it here. Yeah, Velfira, I just... if I had the Kingdoms of Saxonia stuff, I think I would be able to do that. Plus, I'd have to just kind of maneuver the slicer thing somehow and just take a piece of that away. That's something I just have not had a chance to fool around with. Oh, you know what? One sec here. Grab you again. Didn't do the ears. do the ears here while we're thinking about it. So yeah, Velfair, that would be really, really kind of a fun add-on there to the bases. Let's see, okay, I think we're good there now. Maybe I'll try to get a little of the darker turquoise under here. Doesn't have to be very much, because you can't really see it. Okay. Now, of course, if I could just do one with the green stuff or whatever, or even sculpt it and then do a mold of it and just do some press molds, that would work too. Now we begin with this stuff here, maybe a little touch of thinner on that. And let's start to work back in some of the lighter armor color here. Can't forget our reflected light. Just using the Wintry brush here with the new color handles, which ironically enough, look at that, are teal. And welcome back there, Night Runner. Great to see you. I hope that your Saturday was a very good one. And well, here's hoping that everybody has a really fun Sunday too. Maybe you will still be able to get in some painting or playing a game, whatever. Actually, Landrast was today RPG day. Because if Friday is hobby night, that must have meant today was RPGs. So Velfair, we only just did the glazy stuff. It will be getting its lighter stuff, just like all the other ones. But we have to let that set. See how it's still shiny? We have to let that set. We gotta let that set. That's why we're constantly rotating around. So eventually it will look like this one here. But that's how the other two started out. So every other Saturday. Hopefully M-Toys has started getting back to his Tomb Kings, or has he been completely distracted onto something else? I think it's very likely he was distracted onto something else. And oh, hey, Brian and Velfair, if you wanted to share anything in the chat there, please go ahead and do that. I just realized, well, we've been doing this for a little while, so there's more folks in the chat there for you guys. So if you want to share stuff, please go ahead and do that. I figured I was going to still have to wait another good 10 minutes or so. But lots of folks are joining us here, so we appreciate that. You know what? That also needs to be a bit lighter there too. So Ryan, everybody please check out the link that Ryan just shared. Same thing there, Velfair. You want to post anything with the dragon or any of your stuff there, please go ahead and do that. I haven't been able to do anything with the Tomb Kings there, Velfair. I still have a whole bunch of stuff to base. There's tons of stuff actually still to print out. Pretty much all that stuff got ground to a halt by Adepticon. Here's hoping we'll be able to pick all that stuff back up again. Same thing with the Bretonnians too. I have tons of Pegasus Knights that I want to base. So he's working on some today. Well, that's that's very good that he's keeping up with his stuff there. Is that okay? That is still the armor there. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a cheeky bit of leather or something like that. So let me grab this one so you can kind of see 25 minutes ago it was this. We are heading towards that. So that's where we're heading to. Everybody please check out the Instagram link that Valfera posted. So now, yeah, now see it's still a little bit on the shiny side, so we're gonna wait. We will not be hasty little hobbitses. Now let me see if I can get some right here. That's that Mars Violet. Looks like there's a little bit of the Asphaltum there too. We're just going to try and get something here for the skin. We'll let it blend with some of the violet that's there too. Like so here. So again, everybody please check out the stuff that Ryan posted. Some fabulous oil painted miniatures. We'd love to see those, of course. That is what's possible with the oil paints. So this is a little bit of our Van Dyke around some of the Mars Violet, and we're just going to start doing this stuff. Maybe a little more of the thinner in there too. At least for this. Also this. It's very much like what we were doing with the horses, fur and such. Yeah, we're going to let some of that sort of Terra Rosa, not quite Terra Rosa, work its way in there. I know I gotta get some of that over here too. Okay, good on the hands there. Some of the Mars black, I suppose, here. Again, just gonna work in some of the Van Dyke brown too. And let's just do some darks on the bases, even though, like we've been saying, they're gonna get covered up by the snow. So Valfera, I just kind of keep proceeding. So if you're watching the one with the gal kids there, I just kind of keep painting like I normally would. It's just going to be super glossy. Now it did seem to set up a little bit quicker. Now of course, I would say that the Alkyd paints, they actually do set up quicker than the Alkyd medium does. Whether it's Galkyd or the walnut-based stuff or whatever, I still have to try the walnut-based stuff again, using more of it and see what happens. So once it starts out shiny and it stays shiny, that it does not lose the shiny, and that's why we won't ever be using that on stream for sure. Maybe some select tutorial videos now and then, but definitely will never be a live stream substance that we use there. But we welcome in Legion of Grey Plastic. Legion of Grey, how you doing? Everybody please give Legion of Grey Plastic a follow. So Legion of Grey, I think you were continuing that same miniature, right? Appreciate you being here. And yes, we have some more of our Galadrhim Cav here. So 29 minutes ago, that is what we had. And this is the one from last night. So we'll try and get a little side by side for you. So we basically half an hour ago was this. We are here. That's where we're heading. So you can kind of see there's your 3-step. That's the GW way of painting oils. It's primer, do a little bit of this, then it's done. 3 very easy steps. So easy to accomplish. Thank you so much, Trugo. That's 6 months worth, it looks like. Thank you so much. It's funny, Night Runner, because Bill Alexander, that's who I grew up with. It was actually Bill Alexander. Haven't really seen too much of Bob Ross, ironically enough. Thank you so much, Sarge. It's positively early for you tonight. I know that, well, hopefully everything is still going okay there. And thank you so much. Esnabel, how you doing? So we were having a little discussion with Blades there. I've actually been mispronouncing that, so I will try to remember to actually pronounce that correctly. So thank you so much, Sarge. Appreciate that. So yeah, ironically enough, Bill Alexander was the guy that I saw first. It's funny because everybody says that obviously our approach is a little bit more mellow, more like Bob Ross. So a little bit less of the attacking and the smashing and the boom and the pows and everything like that. Say than Bill Alexander. But yeah, that was actually the person that I got started with all those years ago. You know what? I need to get some of that over here. Get a little bit of that, some of that Mars Violet there. And of course, Legion of Grey, you want to share anything in the chat? Same thing there, Sarge. You want to share either your Harbinger of DK or your new figure there. Yeah, Sarge, it's been a little while since you had some time like that, right? For sure. And again, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Ooh, you know what? I wonder. Yeah, so that's the Williamsburg Salo Green. Wow, that is still still very much wet over there. I'm pretty used to using the fast matte version of that. There we are. Okay, let's get some of that over here. So thank you so much, Sarge. It's never too late for shamrocks, right? Thank you so much. Now, well, Veilfair, but well, then now it all depends. Well, Blossom was mighty happy. Well, yeah, maybe Blossom wasn't as happy as we thought he was to get his foliage, but he went from old one-eyed to Blossom afterwards. So maybe it was less thrilled than we thought. I'm just going to try and get me some of this darker stuff down in here. We're going to just grab something that we could use as a blending brush. We'll just try this here. So thank you so much, Sarge. Appreciate that. And again, hopefully a little bit of hobby time this weekend. Taking advantage of some rear time away. Where's my... there you are. And again, Legion of Grey, you want to post anything in the chat too, please go ahead. Nice to see you again there, Elite. Happy Sunday. Let me see if we can get a little bit of this. Yeah, maybe a little indigo. Down into there. Yeah, that should actually be a... Now to get some of our brown up in there too. Hey there, Bithron and Negative Charisma. So Bithron, hopefully the internet is behaving. Well, and Sarge, same thing. Hopefully now that the cable is where it should be, hopefully that means a little bit less mischief there. Now again, we're going to let this set here. Right, we'll maybe do some of our lighter stuff, but not too much of the... I'm not going to be doing any kind of free-handed type stuff. Not yet anyways. Alright, let me grab this guy here. So great to see you again there, Negative Charisma. I hope that you're doing well. Now here, let's get back to some of our... Again, this is the Radiant Indigo. It is not actually a Radiant color. It just acts so much like it. I've just kind of labeled it as a Radiant color. And this is still not white. Remember that there's a significant difference. When we get that way, you'll definitely notice it. For sure. We'll also have to get some of our indigo back in there. There's that micro blending. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to actually use this one here. Yeah, we'll just do that for our blending brush. Do we have another? Yep, we have another section of that over here. Again, we'll take the blending brush. Hashtag no layers. So negative charisma. I hope that everything goes well and your Saturday was a good one. Hopefully everybody had themselves a good Saturday, at least a decent Saturday. Oh, he actually's got the, these are over on the other side. All the other horsies. Yep, they've been on the other side. I was wondering what was different about this guy here. Once again, that blending brush here. So we're just going to slap that on there. We're going to take our blending brush, a little bit of tap, 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 push that all around. And that's what we're going to keep on doing here, because, well, you're going to get yourself some nice smooth blends that way. You're also not going to be spending your entire natural lifetime just shading small areas. Yeah, I think I will let some of the light work its way on the front of his leg here. Can't using that blending brush. Nice to see you again, Penguin Shark. So Penguin Shark Minis, I hope that you are doing very well. I do believe I have your sticker on the on one of the cases. I try to get everybody's sticker on all of the display / transport cases. There may be a few that I haven't done yet. Maybe a little bit of thinner into that. So again, it happens very, very quickly here. Don't blink. You will almost certainly miss something. Yeah, oh yeah, that should also be lighter. We'll have to get some of our lighter skin tones in there, but I really want that to set for a bit. Here's another area where we need to get some of this darker turquoise that we mixed. You know what, I'm going to get me some of that down in here too. Also over here. This side. Alright, I was looking at that going, there's something missing there. Mr. Stark, welcome back. I hope that, again, you had yourself a fantastic day. So this was our one from last night. Where's Thursdays? So that's Thursday, and now we're here. We've got some sword and board guys that we have to do, of course. So there's, again, sword and board. Oh, Bithron, that should be very fun. I know way, way back in the day, Secret Weapon had some Jersey barriers, and then some traffic cones. Yeah, let me try and get a little bit of my darker turquoise out there too. Alright, where's my, there's Deborah. Let's start sending down a little bit of this. Again, this is not white here. It's lighter, but most definitely not white. Let's get that on the top of his helmet if we can here. Also to get some of that lighter stuff in his hair. Hey there, Green Fairy Studio, how you doing? Actually, Green Fairy Studios, ironically enough, that the same guy that was it Alan Lee or whatever that did a lot of the artwork and concept art for the Lord of the Rings movies. He was also, I know you'd be a huge surprise to hear that he was big into doing, obviously, the full armor sets and everything. And there was actually, it was a book called Medieval Soldier, and he was in that book, and a bunch of other folks doing, well, essentially, your kind of medieval cosplay there with, again, folks in full plate armor and everything else. And it was really revealing to see where all the reflections went and how all the robes and the cloaks and the tunics all reflected into the armor. So Green Fairy Studios, great to see. If you wanted to share anything in the chat, please go ahead. And of course, congratulations on the Brimstone Award there. So if you wanted to share any of your Brimstone stuff, that would be fabulous. Hey there, AD. Great to see you again. Everybody, please also give AD Creations a follow. And of course, AD, you want to share something in the chat, you know, the usual, please go ahead and do that. So AD, I was actually starting to file mold lines on some of that creature caster stuff. The stuff that was in the box. Haven't had a chance to print out that other guy. The one we were talking about. Haven't had a chance to print him out yet. Maybe tomorrow into Monday, something like that. So yeah, Green Fairy Studios, there'd be time where Armored Wolf would send me pictures of, if it was somebody, maybe a hoplite in bronze armor or something like that. If they were walking around in a forest or a green field or something like that, they pretty much looked like the Jolly Green Giant walking around. They were mostly just, not just green, but a very bright green, which was pretty hilarious, actually. So again, just letting that mix with what's already here. So Moonstone, sorry about that, Green Fairy. So check out the Moonstone. I keep thinking of the, oh gosh, now I've already forgotten the other game. So everybody please check out the Insta link that AD shared. Now, is that Discord? Yeah, that's a Discord link that Green Fairy Studios shared. And like I said, somebody was helping me out, trying to create a Discord area for me. So hopefully that is something I'll be able to utilize moving forward. That time will not be right now. So Shadows of Brimstone. Yep, that's it. So sorry, the brain is, well, it's definitely not caught up in any way, shape, or form. Let's see, we got these chompers in here. I'm going to see if we can't maybe save a wee bit of time here. Let me see if we can get some of the green, some of our radiant green here. A little touch of this. Back to the turquoise here. And we're just going to see, we can't use the one true brush. Like a little bit of a homemade filbert here. Spread that out. So yeah, Green Fairy just trying to get the brain loosened up here. Heck, still trying to get caught up on sleep. Maybe a little bit more of the turquoise. There we go. So again, these are our cheap little craft brushes here, and we're basically starting to turn these into some de facto super soft filbert brushes. Thanks so much for Armored Wolf for providing these. It's been a while since we've had a nice selection like this to work with. So again, everybody please check out the stuff there by AD and the stuff by Green Fairy Studios. So Green Fairy Studio, actually AD, I think you showed up too, and some of Tony's, he posted his selfies. So I think both of you guys were definitely in his selfies. I believe, I don't remember if they were on Facebook or Insta. I think they were on Instagram. Nice to see you there, Abadoo and Hooty Hoot. So Enzabar, I hope that everything is going well. And again, happy Saturday to you. We still have an hour and almost hour and 10 minutes of our Saturday here. Ah, that's fabulous, Penguin Shark, and congratulations. So also, Armored Wolf was featured in Mini Wargaming Dave's in his Adepticon video there. Oh, that's fantastic there, AD. Let's get a little bit of this light over here. Again, we haven't just done a color test figure, we've also done another regular one, so we're getting more and more familiar with what it is we have to do here on each segment of these guys. See if we can't get a little bit of the turquoise down there. Also there. So again, everybody, please check out all the good stuff that people have been posting in the chat. Say lots of nice things, all the good stuff. Throw a little more light down on the end of this here. There we go. Okay. So it happens quick. It really, really does. And start to maybe think about getting some of this a little lighter in a few places here. Oh, that's fantastic, Penguin Shark. Sometimes that really is actually the way to go. Instead of laboring over something and really fretting over every last detail, sometimes just say, I'm just going to throw this in there. Sometimes that's actually a bit more fun and a little bit less stressful. Because people really, they do get awful stressed out about contests and such. And kind of start to overthink things. The judges are looking for this or that or the other thing. And instead, forget the judges. Just say, well, is this fun for me? Am I liking this? So long as that answer continues to be yes, that's really all that matters. So these are 3D printed minis from Dandelions in Middle Earth. And these are Galadrhim elves here. And where's our Galadriel? She has our so you can see the icicles get clearer and clearer as they start to set. Yeah, these are pretty much set here. The snow effects, those are also basically set. Also, again, from Dandelion and Middle Earth, we did a whole bunch of these already on stream. Did a lot of the infantry. Oh, look, they've got icicles too. So the sword and board guys, they're going to look just like our infantry here. So basically the idea is that, well, Galadriel, she chooses to accept the one true ring. And when she does that, it becomes winter in Lothlorien because she's not using her ring to basically be the forest caretaker anymore. So yeah, that Galadriel was one of the last sessions that we did before we headed out for Adepticon. Yeah, I think that was just about one of the last sessions before Adepticon. And I never got a chance to do the icicles on it or the snow. So I was doing that while I was on the phone with Kathy's family there earlier tonight. Go back to the indigo stuff over here. So Mr. Stark, I've just been trying those out because they are definitely cheaper. They do have a few sort of, kind of Williamsburg properties. Obviously, the only thing that is Williamsburg, but they're more like Windsor Newton pricing. Now, who knows, they might go up in price as the brand starts to get recognized a little bit more. But he did want them to be, they're supposed to be kind of an affordable but high quality paint. We'll see if it works out that way in the end. Actually, these new ones show up. I'll have a fair amount of Richardson. Probably as much of that as I have of anything else that's not already, say, Williamsburg, Gamblin, Windsor, Newton. Obviously, I really don't count the Scale 75 stuff. Green Fairy, I do think you're going to like that one. Now, like all of the Richardson stuff, it does kind of have that extra bit of the linseed oil, safflower oil thing going on. And as always, we could just use less of that, right? Because we can always add more ourselves. Where's Mr. Blending Brush here? We'll maybe use the smaller one here. Green Fairy, I do think so. I think also maybe potentially for moonlit stuff. So there's that potential too. I haven't actually really done any sort of special video with that. Again, I'm waiting for those other Richardsons to show. I think there's 3 of them two more that you would sort of consider like a Radiant. When those 2 show up, then I'm going to do a color theory and oils video, and obviously we'll be using those like we use our Radiants here. So we'll be taking some of our common colors and such and doing some of the color swatches with them. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about, well, especially the stuff that's made for miniature painting, right? They just chocked it full of linseed oil. Pretty, not necessarily making it unusable, making it very difficult to use. Who knows? Maybe at some point there is a miniature paint line that's made the way we like it, to more of the artist oil standard, where it's not just super thin down or super linseed oil to death. So Mr. Stark, there's actually have the Pyrrole Orange. We did a video with this one already. Where did you go? There you are. We already did a video with this. Now this is that's a Series 5. However, Series 5 in Richardson, not quite the same as a Series 5 in Williamsburg. Yeah, Green Fairy, you can just tell, right? You can just tell. That's how it is. Now we're going to get ourselves a little bit more of this here indigo here. You know what? Let's just chunk some of this over here. What the heck? And then we'll take our blending brush to it again. Hashtag no layers. Why layers? Why slow ourselves down? We don't need to be doing that. Now I'm going to use the other teensy little blending brush. Here we go. Alright. Tilt this over. Little tap, tap, tap. So again, from a really hard edge, something that's nice and soft. And it just took a few seconds, right? Look at this. Again, hashtag no layers. why would we spend all of our time doing that? Don't have to. Can you see what we're doing here? Yeah. And we're doing the same thing here. We're just going to take that and we're just going to mesh those two together. I mean, all kidding aside, you know, how long do you think that would take you with the acrylics? You'd have to do at least a couple layers or a glaze or something. That is not something that you could do with the acrylic, especially since we put it down there and then, you know, didn't exactly come back to it right away either, did we? Now that's interesting, Green Fairy, with the marble dust. A little bit of corporate espionage there. You just better be aware if in case anybody ever shows up on your front lawn there, it could be gambling. No problem there, AD. I will certainly be looking forward to some vittles post-stream. Yeah, where do we want our dark? We want some of that here. Also some of it down there. And then we need some, I think, right here. So see, it, again, it just takes a few seconds, a few brush strokes there. See that? Again, we're just going to take this. Blends that no problem. And then when we hit this with our really light lights, that's really going to make a big difference there. So we're just basically working with the indigo right now. Let's darken up some of this too. Got a little bit of the Mars violet in there as well. We need to darken up the arrow shafts so that fletching actually begins to stand out a little. Hit this too. Again, you know what? Here, let me go back to this. Also, where's my... Oh, fine, we'll just use that. Whatever, don't care. So everybody please check out the Instagram link, the Legion of Grey Plastic Shared. So great to see you there, Moonlight Minis. Everybody please check out Moonlight Minis on Etsy's there. Also My Mini Factory. So Moonlight Minis does a lot of fantastic sculpts. And if you don't have a 3D printer, that's no problem because that's what the Etsy page is for, so you can get those printed out. So Moonlight Minis, if you want to share your website, please go ahead. So Moonlight Minis, we're all trying to recover, especially the voices. Even with the, well, I didn't get to use the magical voice box as often as I wanted to because I was in a lot of situations where I just couldn't use that. Let's say Casual Mouse, how you doing? So Casual Mouse, I hope that the rest of Adepticon was really fun for you. Yeah, Adepticon, it's up tempo, right? And Armored Wolf and I, we did not get a chance to do any of the stuff we were intended to do in that vendor hall, so we'll have to do that next year, hopefully. But yeah, lots of people to see and stuff. Had a drop off. We had the Resin Beast stuff. And again, thanks so much. Well, that doesn't go there. We'll just get rid of that. Let me see, that just went right into that white there, so we need to get that out of here. 1 second. Is that Grand Oracle that I see there? No, that is Denethor. Thank you so much for the bits there, Denethor. Appreciate that. Here, 1 second. That's just going to end up all over the place. So thank you so much, Denethor. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Everybody, please give Mini Mad Cat a follow. Mini Mad Cat, nice to see you. Same thing there, Pawninator. And Jimmy the Brush, nice to see you. So, of course, Denethor, he says, well, we could have used a good sight amount of these guys, because, tell you what, Gondor can't really shoot straight. It's really weird. Thank you so much again. I appreciate that, Mad Cat. So, yeah, casual, it is difficult to get everything squeezed in at Adepticon, isn't it? So, what are we painting? We are painting some more of our Galadrhim Cavalry. So, this is where we're headed here. 1 hour ago, it looked just like this. So it was just primer here. We're using our oils like always. So you can see we're starting to build up some of our darkest darks. Then we're going to get into some of our lightest lights. Right, we're going to get to some more of the leather straps and everything. I was just doing a little bit of glazy stuff down on the base here. So everybody please check out the Instagram link that Bithron just posted. And of course, Mad Cat, if you want to post anything in the chat there, please go ahead. We've got our freehand that we're going to be doing. And again, some of our lightest lights. Again, doing all with the oils. And the little storyline behind this is that Galadriel accepts the one true ring. And, well, all of a sudden now it is winter in Lothlorien. So there we go. We were just putting the icicles on this earlier today. We've done a whole bunch of the infantry here. Like so. And again, all done with the oils right out of the tube. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Grand Oracle. Thank you very much. So Bithron, yeah, the terrain has really been looking amazing there. Really fantastic. I'm sure you're super, super, super happy about that. So happy Saturday there, Grand Oracle. I know that, well, again, you're not quite getting, not exactly doing the things you originally planned this weekend, are you? Yeah, definitely Mini Mad Cat, please go ahead and do that. So, well, we're just about to talk about some of our Adepticon stuff here. So we are very grateful to Creature Caster here, because they not only let me finish off Kathy's piece, she had painted it on stream, just needed to be basically assembled, and then that final touch-up stuff. And they're actually taking that with them on wherever they go to a convention, they will be taking that with them. And we announced this today on the Instagrams. So we entered in this unit of Conquest Raptor Riders into the Resident Beast, and they managed to take their first place there. So we appreciate that. And we painted a whole bunch of the Empire of Dust stuff on our last couple of streams, including these guys, and they actually managed to win a little some. So we had a couple of these for the unit and for the, I think it was for large creature, whatever. It's like, anybody got Skittles? I like Skittles. It's like, dude, they don't have Skittles. I don't have any either. What about Raisinets? I don't think they have those either. What about Reese's Pieces? I like Reese's Pieces. That's going to be one of our new crazy characters there. So Grand Org, I was hoping maybe you would get a chance to do a little bit of your hobby stuff there too. So if there's a long link, that must be a Discord link. So everybody please check out Mini Mad Cat's Discord link there. And of course, everybody please give Mini Mad Cat a follow. So thanks again for the raid there, Mini Mad Cat. I know it's been a long stream and a long day for you. Sorry to have to make you do that on the cusp of all of the long stream and long day. I know how that is after stream. Sometimes all you want to do is just go keel over and take a wee bit of a nap there after a long stream. But thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. Green Fairy Studio, a few folks were kind enough or mischievous enough to get me some chocolate covered raisins. So next year, if we need any crowd control, that is going to be part of our dealer's room adventure there. if we need to, shall we say, clear out a space, we will all just stock up on the chocolate-covered raisins. And I think we'll have most of the dealer's room to ourselves if we do it right. And then, of course, the side benefit is you have your roughage for the day as well. No problem there, Mini Mad Cat. Again, I'm hoping that in the future, our Saturday challenges, we'll be able to start those at an earlier time frame. Definitely in the ballpark there for sure, Grand Oracle. Maybe and then some. I think we, because well, you've already heard the story of kind of how that legend was born with Kathy's Kathy's unwise purchase of those as a snack for a very long car ride. Thank you so much, Grand Oracle, which meant going 70 miles an hour down the expressway through Wisconsin in 20-degree weather. And all the windows rolled down. Even the dogs and the cat's eyes were kind of watering there. And then from that day forward, they became illegal contraband, which everybody has been trying to sneak to me for years. That all started with Kathy's mom and dad. They still do that to this day. I know Kathy's sister just sent me some. Do we need it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How's about we get some of that dark over here? And again, with the oils, we just chuck that on there. We find ourselves a blending brush like this. So again, just big old blobs there, right? Until we start to do this. And then they're not blobs anymore. Well, at least not with any hard edges, that's for sure. We'll do this. And again, when we come back with our light, that's really going to have a big impact. And we're almost there. I'm going to start getting some of my lighter stuff here, I think, on maybe some of the skin tones. Got some of that, maybe a little bit of some of our red in there too. I did want to throw a little touch of the asphaltum in there to dirty that up. So let's start getting the fingers here. Like so. So see you later, Legion of Grey. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the raid, of course. Everybody, please give Legion of Grey Plastic a follow if you could. Also, Megan. How you doing there, Megan? I hope that you're feeling a little bit less under the weather now. And hopefully everybody else is still free and clear. I know you're just saying, look, if it just gets me and leaves everybody else alone, that's still a win. Let me see. So let's see. Decide what the A1. Oh, you got actually. How much? What is the A1, Grand Oracle? Isn't that usually about 500 or so? Again, I can only vaguely remember. Hey there, Queez. So we have Megan and Queez. So happy Easter. Because, yeah, it's Easter for you guys. Now, I don't know if you're busy squirreling away the Easter eggs and everything like that. Kathy's mom and sister were actually coloring some Easter eggs while I was talking to them on the phone earlier today. Let's see. So it's down under 250. Let me do some more of this here. Now that's fantastic there, Grand Oracle. No, I'm gonna go back. Let's step back here. Not quite so light. Gotta get some stuff on the face. So Moonlight Minis, I know that just as you came in there was a series of raids and other things. If you didn't get a chance to share your Etsy page or whatever, please go ahead and do that. And again, everybody, please check out Moonlight Minis. Get some really fabulous sculpts. There we go. Now we've got some lighter skin tones in here. Again, that is just mixing with some of the some of the Mars, violet, a little bit of the asphaltum that's already in there. Yeah, Grand Orga, just you kind of, that way you can use the X1 for kind of the heavy duty stuff, right? I still would really like to actually have a second X1, believe it or not. Nice to see you again there, Artemichael. So Artemichael, if you wanted to share any of your terrain, and here's hoping that your MESPG campaign works out there and you get a chance to do that. Let's lighten that up a little bit there too. So yeah, Grand Orga would definitely really, if there was a second one here, they would both be running 24 hours a day. Now here I put a little bit of the, and this is another thing we'll be doing in a color theory and oils here, this transparent red oxide. I'm going to maybe try and use some of that in a skin tone video too. Yeah, Grand Oracle again. If it's just supplementing the other one, that way you can kind of let the carbon do all the super snazzy stuff, right? Ah, that's good. That's good, Artemichael. Well, speaking of goblins, so Moonlight Minis again. I know that the goblins, that wouldn't have been your first choice of things to sculpt, but I'm sure they turned out fabulous. And yeah, so Moonlight Minis, it was very much up tempo at Adepticon, like we thought it was going to be. Very exhausting with no sleep, pretty much over 5 days. And by no sleep, I mean quite literally no sleep. That's not one of those. We're not just kind of jesting about that. It's like, yeah, there was genuinely no sleep. Still trying to get caught up on that. So they dropped the Filament Club. It's kind of funny, Grand Oracle. I just actually had another shipment of the Elegoo stuff arrive. And I have to say, I think I might just stick with that. Now, I do still have some bamboo refill, and if I ever do use the top hat, that's where I think I would get the bamboo refills. But maybe that's if I, and that's the other reason I thought, well, if I have a second one, then, well, that could get the top hat, right? And I can just go onesies on the other printer and do the top hat on the other one. Mr. Stark, 3D printing is challenging, to say the very least. And Valfur says, yeah, and especially depending on what type you're looking to do, because there's two different types. There's the FDM style, which is the filament, which is what Grand Oracle and I are talking about right now, and then there's the resin type where it's got the vat and everything. Now the resin type, that the difficulty there is that stuff, you've got to be very cautious with that material, because you don't want to be coming in contact with it. You don't want to have the fumes of that working their way all through your house. So Grand Oracle, yeah, I'm just going to be sticking with that. I mean, Hank has used hundreds of spools of the Elegoo stuff on his, well, 3 Carbon X1s and some of the P1s as well. So I figured if he's able to do that much with it, and I've seen the results, I'm just going to stick with that too. So again, Artemichael, I hope that all works out very well for you. Let's do this now. I don't know if the actually Velfair or Grand Oracle, if the Omni 3 Kickstarter has actually fulfilled yet. I don't know. I don't think so. So the one that I ended up with, I have a couple of the Anycubic, and just like Grand Oracle was mentioning, the Frozen one, those are very expensive, very temperamental, and replacement parts are really hard to find. If you do something like, well, the Elegoo or Anycubic or whatever, you could potentially just find spare parts laying around on the sidewalk by comparison. They're that much easier to get your hands on, that's for sure. Ah, that's fantastic, Artemichael. Now, Artemichael, are you doing any Castalians, or are you just going to? Are you doing the Necromancer and Friends? You know what? I think we're going to start to get into some of the lightest light here again. Let's show. So that is where we're going to be headed. Also, when we do that, we are going to dive into some of our free-handy stuff there too. Now, actually, let me grab this, and we're going to do a quick little bit of blending there. Again, just a dry brush just to push some of that stuff around. So Mr. Stark, that has been, they've been super, super reliable for me, which is, thank goodness, because the Frozen certainly were not. Now, the Elegoo that I had was one of the very early ones, so it's really not fair to judge it by that, so I can't say. And other folks I know, and Sarge, you still have your Elegoo Saturn, right? So a lot of folks have had plenty of success with their Elegoo. I would just maybe, of all the ones, if you're looking to maybe not use, I would say maybe stay away from the Frozen stuff. So yeah, Grand Oracle, well, I'm trying to say I've had some mischief with the bamboo filaments. So yeah, actually Green Fairy, that was the one. There was the Sonic Mini. I had two of those. One of them, well, it basically worked until it stopped working, and then could never get it working again, even with a new light and everything. So that was a bit of a bummer right there for sure. And Penguin Shark Minis can vouch for the Saturn 3. Saturn 3. Ooh, that's going to be a little too much of the thinner. So I'll just start down here then. Let some of that work its way onto there. So yeah, there's sometimes we'll do that little thing on the corners. But then I've also had that happen with the bamboo stuff. Let me see if I can't. Here, we're trying to get that nice hard edge along there. I know there's the Neptune or something like that. That's another FDM style printer. You know what? I don't think. Yeah, I'm going to go back and we're going to get rid of this. Yeah, we'll just get rid of that thing. Great to have you back there, 80. Alright, let's keep going with some of our lightest light here. Bow, the arm, we got a whole bunch of areas. So we still have to do some stuff on his hair as well. That'll get some of the hints of yellow on it. Nah, that's not quite where we wanted that to go. So we'll just take this and we'll just blend some of that away. So yeah, mostly here the fast mat way. We also have to get some of the lighter stuff in the cloak as well. And then, like I said, we'll get down to some of the freehand and such. Working that into his helmet up here. Again, these are 3D printed. Well, on the Anycubic Mono X. Dandelion in Middle Earth. Now, if you're looking for these specific scopes, I think she calls them the Golden Wood Elf or something like that. And they're on the Cults 3D. So she has her Patreon. She also has some things on my mini factory. But the bulk of her stuff, if you're looking to get kind of the individual selections, that's going to be on the Cults 3D. Now, Erna Michael, I'm just glad that you're able to get all that terrain out of the way, all the almost 70 pieces. What was it, 67 pieces? Glad you could finally get those finished off, out of the way. Now we really need to catch some light edges here too on this thing. Now when it comes to our guys with the sword and board, we're going to lose this, but yeah, there you go. So we won't be able to do, you still, I guess, be able to see me do that, even when we paint that. And then, we also have the Queen's Guard here. Let me get to some of my reflected light down here. So I might try hitting some of the Queen's Guard on our Monday stream. Trying to work my way through this Galadrhim army as quickly as I can here. Let me do some stuff on the mane, some stuff on the tail here. And you can see there's some of the darker violet there. It's the whole point of this, right, is that it's going to be mixing at the same time. So yeah, all of the horsies, after we do that initial sort of dry brushy stuff, it's a combo of the Egyptian violet, some of the indigo, and even some of the Mars black. Is a little bit of a glaze over the top. Blending brush, where'd you go? Yeah, we'll use this one here. Remember, we have to keep the snow reflections in mind here, right? Because this base, and that's why we're not going to do a whole lot of elaborate painting on the base necessarily, because we got snow, we got icicles, all that good stuff. So yeah, Grand Oracle. And of course, violet and green, right? They make gray, so they all sort of kind of have a bit of a grayishness to them. You know what? I might actually. Now I'm starting to wonder if since I can't find the stuff that I was hoping to do for that video, I might actually change gears and I might do that boat. I might do that elven ship that I'm going to do as Dol Amroth, because I want to do a whole bunch of freehand on the sails. Yeah, that could be a very exciting series, I think. That's what I might just be filming tomorrow. That's not what I was expecting to film, but I might just do that. Because we're talking about freehand on a massive scale. Potentially. it would be like one of our 5x7 paintings on a sail. Now I wonder, do I have... You're sitting around here, aren't you? Ah, there we go. So essentially, potentially something like this on the sail. And I'm not kidding when I say something that is literally the size, almost the size of this. Oh, and by the way, there's 3 sails. Now, they're not all that size. You've got 3 different size sails. Now, of course, the other thing is, it was printed on the filament style, so I might be doing a little bit of sanding. I might also be doing a little bit of maybe some liquid green stuff over the top of it to kind of get rid of some of the ridges, at least where the freehand's going to be. It does sort of show up in a film noir here. Grand Oracle, I think, yeah, I think this way you can sort of see it. So watch here, and also bring in one of the other ones too. Maybe this one? Yeah, okay, here we go. So you can see we have more of the lights here on that horsey. Let's bring this back. Bringing it back, there we go. So you can see there's that little bit of reddishness there, right? And then we've got this teal. So basically almost like for lack of a better term, a green-red contrast. I know nobody would look at that and say, well, there's no green and red there, but it actually is sort of a green-red. Now here, actually, while I still have him, how's about we take Baby Buck again with his new base there. With his new base, we'll do the same thing, and he really kind of fades into the backdrop, right? Because you have the high intensity colors of the backdrop, and then he is much grayer. As we bring this back, you can really see the change there. Look at that. Again, the high intensity colors of this, and I'll definitely have to do me another one of these. We'll certainly have to do another one of those. So yeah, AD, I'm looking forward to that. The way printing goes everyone did the sails, it was so easy to print them out in FDM, believe it or not, fully, wind-blown sails. Very, very easy. I just wish that everybody else would take the same approach. So that's an old metal GW figure, and then all of the palanquin, that's something that I made myself out of Sculpey. Alright, that is going to be a hassle right there. We got some kind of junk on that brush. Just grab me a paper towel here. See if we can do this again. Minus all the junk on the end of the brush. That's better. See if we get some of the fletching here on the arrows. Like so. And again, with 3 different sails, I'll be able to do some really interesting freehand. So yeah, dark blue sails with the swan imagery in them. Ooh, that's certainly going to be a 3-part series. No doubt about it. I don't know how many terrain videos there are on 28mm boats. I mean, well, I guess, is it really a terrain video at that point? Or is it more just a miniature? So Grand Oracle, it's definitely impossible to find, because even that is not, that's only part of a skink right there. So yeah, that's, there's a couple of different skink pieces there. It's an old metal skink. We're talking probably 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah, when it was, ironically enough, Lizardmen versus Bretonnians. Grand Oracle, I think I've got, I don't know if it's a package. There's at least 12 of them, maybe 13. I have one of those that looks very much like HMS Victory. So that's how we're going to paint that up. I actually I will be printing up some of those rivers and such from printable sceneries. That was 5th edition, right, Landrast? I'm just, for some reason, now I'm wondering it's not 6th edition. Alright, well, Megan, thank you so much for being here. And again, Queez, thanks so much for being here too. I know you guys are really exhausted. And happy Easter to you. And again, I hope that all the kiddies, they find all their Easter eggs and they have a blast. So be sure to send me pictures there, Megan. It's always fun to see the kids getting up to their shenanigans. And Queez, I wasn't sure if you were going to have a chance to do a little bit of Easter 40K at all. Probably so busy doing all the kid stuff, maybe not this weekend, but hopefully you're going to get a chance to do that pretty soon. I know the work schedule hasn't exactly been fantastic for that. I'll try and get me a little bit more there. Now let's get the edge on this too. Here. Did I do the eye? Not really. Also going to try and lighten up this too. Yeah, we haven't really done much on the horsey's armor here. Okay, I know you've been really itching to do that for quite some time. So here's hoping that you get a chance to do that real soon. We'll be coming back with some of our darker stuff here as well. There is an extra thing for that brat. Okay. I haven't just been imagining that. See if we can get these lighters here too. So good night there, Megan. And again, have a fantastic Easter. We still got to get our lighter yellow in here too, don't we? Yeah, let's do that. I think maybe we didn't get the lighter white in there. Okay. Yeah, that's well, Moonlight Maze again. I'm glad you're able to kind of work through that project, and I guess can't wait to see what the new projects bring. And again, everybody, please be sure to check out Moonlight Minis. Some really amazing sculpts. Ooh, there we go. I'm gonna get some of this lighter stuff on his face. We're kind of missing some of that here. The bow is a little bit in the way over here, so we'll try and work around that bow. Alright, well, Veilfear, thanks again for being here, and happy Easter. And I'm sure you have all kinds of tasty victuals there too. So Veilfear, we'll do one last film noir for you here. Let's take our good old Fate Enchantress, right, and we'll make a lot of that contrast disappear. There's a little bit of value there, right, but it's mostly a color contrast. Look at that. Yeah, there's shading, but nowhere near the kind of contrast that the color itself provides. You got basically high saturation colors bumping up right up against each other. And yeah, the oils make it really easy to be able to do those kind of transitions in no time at all. So yeah, Moonlight Minis, actually, if you check out the, let's see, do we have that here? We don't have it here. I had my little Resin Beast thing here about our Conquest figures that we entered. So we entered that unit of the Conquest figures into the Resin Beast, and that managed to get a first place there. So that was really fun. And we painted all of those up on stream. So you can go back and watch those. And again, they were painted with the oil paints. Ooh, this would be, I think we were using the Williamsburg Ultramarine Blue here. Indanthrene Blue would be really fun. Indanthrene Blue and the Perline Crimson. Ooh, yeah. Well, I don't have another one of these, but we'll maybe give that a try on something. The Indanthrene Blue and the Indanthrene Blue and the Perline Crimson. And actually, I am doing a YouTube video of that Halo stuff. Remember, we painted 3 of the Halo figs on stream. But that's actually, is that rendered now? Yep, that is all fully rendered. So we will upload that overnight and get that put up on the YouTube channel. Boy, Grand Oracle, I was kind of hoping, but that's why we wanted to get into the vendor hall so that I could actually approach him about that, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So what's that new army? Bithron, what's it called again? The Sorcerer Kings, right, Bithron? So we have those coming this way again. I don't know when they're going to get here because it's a pre-order situation. Oh, I did also get in the swag bag, well, the 2 things, right? The big thing, the thing I'm super excited about is the entire Operation Unthinkable set. So yes, our painting small scale is going to also, well, it's going to burst into the historical range now. We'll be painting up a whole bunch of those. Because so far all the painting small scale stuff has been Battlefleet Gothic ships. And I do think one of the, there will be an army painting series on the Conquest figs, because I think the one army box comes with 2 each of the regular mainline units. So I thought, well, okay, that'll work. We could dive into those. I need to get some more of just the regular white in there. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Stark, for being here. As always, appreciate that. And we'll hopefully see you on our Monday night stream. Again, most likely it's going to be some more of the Galadrhim stuff here, because I really do need to get this stuff at least to a decent sized army. Right now it's just kind of it's just a smattering. So yeah, we need to get some more of these done. I've still got 2 more Cav. Well, that's just what I prepped. There's some more Cav that's printed out. Oh, here we go. Let's not just make that darker, but sharpen the edge. Then we're going to also start to work some of our Prussian blue into here. That's what we did on the other one last night. And that worked really, really well. So see you later there, Mr. Stark. Wait a minute here. Let me do the dark there. Give him his eye. Do some cleanup there. we'll have to get, so again, some of our lightest light down into here. More of our shadow there. Try the, and also too, we have to start on our freehand design. We haven't forgotten that. Lead a bit this here on that stirrup. Some there. I'm gonna just throw some of this down on the hooves. And then do the blending brush thing. Gonna be a lot of snow there, so again, don't have to go crazy. Let's again take the blending brush to that. Alright, now we're back to our radiant indigo, as we like to call it. I'm just gonna grab one of my guys, so I need to see my pattern and how that played out on the horsey. So I think our center point goes right about there. And now we build off of that. And then after we get this on, we let this set, and then we'll come back with our darker indigo, right, which is basically an infill. And it also helps to clean up the pattern. Now here, since all the paint that's underneath there is already wet, that's helping to, by default, shade our freehand, so we don't have to do all that kind of stuff. Now where there are folds, sometimes we have to say, okay, we're going to maybe alter our pattern just enough, maybe have the most recognizable parts of the pattern where it's easiest to see. A balance between enough thinner and too much thinner. Too much thinner because it's going to create a pin line wash, and well, that'll be all kinds of no bueno right there. So again, the same pattern that we've been doing here. We've done it on all the infantry. We've done it on the cav. I'm not so sure about the royal guard. Maybe they have a slightly different pattern. Alright, let's do this again. And I'm not really worried about the width of the line there, because we still have our darker blue that's going to come in here.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
We're also going to welcome ourselves our newest little hobbit. Thank you so much, Dungeon Church. I appreciate that. And it says, again, nothing to see here. Simple costume change. It's like, so since when did Galadrhim become a pop star? Yeah, she has more costume changes than Taylor Swift. Still, man, I think she's got that one true ring. It's like, don't make me shoot you. So check this out here. This is one thing that we were able to get at Adepticon. We have ourselves some Gandalf dice. So thank you so much, Dungeon Church. Appreciate the follow there. And I mean, it's darn near right to scale with our Gandalf right there. So yeah, that's, whoops, well, you're not going to be casting too much on that. That's for sure. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. No, there's too much thinner in there. We're going to back off of some of that. There's, again, too much thinner. It's just going to be sliding around all over the place. We don't want that. And then we'll have to let that set, remember. We do this now. We let it set. Then we'll come back with some of the darker indigo. Here we need a little bit of acrylic. If we don't like it, we just say, huh. And we do that. Oh, yeah. Try doing that with the acrylics. I don't think so. There's been so many times we've been able to make dramatic corrections on our freehand. So now I'm all anxious to do the that video on that boat. So again, all the folks that were at Adepticon, I appreciate everybody that stopped by Fort Wapple to say hello. And we also had our little Kathy museum, so all the folks that were painting the Kathy miniatures, if they sent them to me, they ended up in the little Kathy display case there. So that's something I'll basically just have every year at Adepticon. The little Kathy display case. Alright, we leave that alone. Now I'm actually going to also think about getting some light here on the cloak, as in some of the lightest lights, especially up here at the top. Also parts of his arm here, that would be catching some light. Definitely the shoulder here and his arm need to get some substantially lighter turquoises. I still haven't, still got to do the hair. I think there was a raid just as I was about to do that. See if I can turn him around. Get some of that in here. I think I can actually still even go slightly lighter there. And we'll do this. Boom. So yeah, we have the Conquest miniatures that we had in the Resin Beast. That's my latest Instagram post. I think I did that earlier today. And we've been printing out some Conquest. There's some resin or some pieces for Resin Beast that are from Creature Caster. One of them looks suspiciously like a Nazgul, so he will be one of the ones probably not painted on stream, but it sort of depends on if he can ever fit on screen. I don't know about that. Some of our lightest teal color here, yeah. We gotta do this on the other side, don't we? Yes, we do. Even here, we could use a little light. Also on the little tassels there on our horse. Come on, there we are. You could see them a whole lot easier here. The other ones you could only see kind of the first batch, and that was it. See if I can get the edge of this too while we're at it, and then a little. No, that's going to be too light. Let's back away slightly. We want to get there. We are. So that's a little bit of the reflected teal onto that armor. Yeah, AD. I am really leaning towards the not firelight, some kind of greenish glow, or, well, teal glow or something like that. Hopefully there's more than one light source, so maybe we can do a multi-light source thing. I haven't had that much of a chance to really examine it closely. Alright, again, just let a little bit of the teal work its way into that. Oh, we should do some more of that over here then. Yeah, there you go. Still gotta get some of our lighter color on the horsey as well. Now let me just do the hair stuff before I forget again. Some of that handsome yellow. Whoops, okay.
Hello,
Didn't need
little
quite
hobbits.
that much of
Spark
the
my
asphaltum
guns.
there. That's a whole bunch of it right there. Thank you so much. Appreciate that low life. So, who's talking about costume changes here? It's like, I used to be Gandalf the Grey. Now I'm Gandalf the White. It's like, sure, you didn't take the one true ring. Thank you so much, Mafi, for the raid. Appreciate that. Everybody, please give Mafi a follow. So, Mafi, I hope that your stream was a blast, and happy Easter, of course. Happy Easter, and if you want to share anything in the chat, please go ahead and do that. So, Mafi, huge surprise, we're using the oils. Huge surprise, we're painting cavalry. I know you're absolutely shocked at all of those things, right? Where's our Thursday one? Yeah, this is our Thursday one here. This is our Friday. These are all 3D printed from Dandelion and Middle-earth. They will eventually get their snow and icicles. Again, here's our third one. So 1 hour and 51 minutes ago. Hey there, Doji. Nice to see you. Happy Easter. That's what he looked like. 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 28 seconds ago. Yes, indeed. And of course, the story of this army is that Galadriel she chooses to take the one true ring. Look at those icicles. They're almost fully cured now. So it becomes winter in Lothlorien. There, look, there's some more of them over there. So yes, winter in Lothlorien, and we've done a whole bunch of the infantry so far. And we do have some sword and board that Cav that we're going to do as well. So Mafi, we were looking to do winter elves, right? And I was kind of thinking of the Galadrim. They would be really fun for that. And then it just sort of worked out that Dandelion and Middle-earth, where they happened to do the Galadrim. I think they called them the Golden Wood or something like that. Elves of the Golden Wood, I don't know. Printed those out. They are really fantastic. Infantry Cav. We also have the Royal Guard here as well. So Doji, I have the initial group shot of like the first 8 miniatures or something like that. Obviously, I want to get some of the... Now that I have so much of the elven terrain, I can actually winterize it. So yes, not just going to do the Lothlorien terrain, but I'm also going to winterize it. So we'll have ourselves a winter board and not just say like, I don't know, Angmar or Misty Mountains. So that's going to be extra fun. All right, Mafi, again, thank you so much for the raid. If you wanted to share anything in the chat before you went off to make some Easter dinners there, please go ahead and do that. And Doji, I didn't think you heard, but I was able to successfully print out. The printing goes ever on. Again, the Swan ship. They intended it for elves. I intend it for Dol Amroth, which means tons and tons of freehand, like this, also like that, and well, there's Dol Amroth right there. So we're going to be doing lots of this very fun freehand designs on it, and since it's so gigantic, I think that's gonna make a very unique canvas, one that I've never really had before. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe even on the hull of the ship, we'll see what we can do there as well. Now here, let me get down to the... Ooh, that's a little too violet. Let's... What about this? Is that gonna... No, I'm just gonna have to get me a little bit of the green to gray that down a bit. And again, we're just gonna do this. Blending brush is somewhere. Here it is. I'll just do a little bit of tap, tap, tap here, like so. So Doji, it should be really interesting as a... It wasn't going to be a video I was going to do it right away, but the stuff that I was going to do, it got set aside and then pushed aside with all the Adepticon craziness. This just happens to be easily available. And I also want to try I haven't tried the new setup for painting yet. So I want to see what that can do for painting. And I think that should also let me, it should give me a little bit more room than what we have here at this station. Photography will be interesting because that boat itself is longer than the photography area, so we'll have to come up with something different for that. My hope is that at least the boat itself is assembled and mostly painted by the end of that first session. The sail, that's going to be something that takes at least the next session or two. Where's my blending brush again? I'm just popping this stuff on there. Take the blending brush, push this all around here. Again, here we go. Just a little bit of tap, tap, tap there. And these guys they were all magnetized so that I could bring them to Adepticon. And I figured that since I'm winterizing the terrain, that could also be really fun. We haven't really done any videos on winterizing terrain. I've done tutorial step-by-steps on the blog. There's a bunch of those, but I don't believe I've ever done a winter terrain video. Let me get these ears a little lighter here. Again, just have to drop this on there and let it blend, because again, this is all oil paints right here, right out of the tube, start to finish. There's outside of the primer, that's the only thing that was acrylics here. Doji, unfortunately, it's definitely not going to float because the hull part of it is actually not going to be, since we want to use it as a piece of terrain, we don't have that hull part of it. It probably would be a little bit too top heavy as well. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be. But yeah, unfortunately that lower section of the hull that would kind of give it a little more buoyancy and stuff, that's not actually being printed. Because we want it to lay flat on a table, right? Now again, it might. I mean, I can always print out another one with that bottom, and then see if it actually floats. Hey, Splintered Brush, how you doing? Splintered Brush, if you want to share anything in the chat, please go ahead and do so. So yeah, these were. This should be a very interesting army, especially with these guys at fight 6 and, well, these guys all at fight 5. Now, the defense is very, very low, I will say that. So you better win those fights, or you're going to be running short of elves real quick. I need to get some more of my lightest light. Ooh, no, the top of this. Here, let's get this. Let's get the top of that. I think this should be lighter too. Yeah, that should be catching more light. And then, of course, the scale mail here as well. Hopefully that's not going to be too light. And since these have no mold lines or anything like that, speaking of scale mail, this was the thing that would always get destroyed on the plastic miniatures, because needless to say, the mold line would run right through this texture and absolutely nuke it. Where's that blending brush? The smaller one. Here it is. Splintered brush, I have I have a gigantic one. Well, technically, I have about 3 Beorning's armies because I have at least 10 different bears. Because I've got Diwali, I've got Printing Goes Ever On, Kurzlook. Anybody that's done bears, I got the bears. And I've got at least 2 Beorning, just the regular infantry printed out. Possibly 3. So it's going to be a massive. Well, I guess I'll do the Legendary Legion and then maybe the regular Beornings. Ironically enough, that video that I wanted to do with the casualties on the base, one of them was either going to be Bjorning or Bjorn or his son, one of the 2 bears. Also, there's going to be another one of our tree men. Again, with the casualties on the base. Well, Doji, again, that really looked sensational. Your painting area there. Really did enjoy the wood finish on that. So it's a really fantastic looking area. Hopefully very, very restful and relaxing to paint there. So boy, that's a harsh experience for friendlies right there, Splintered Brush. That's a rough experience for a friendly. I still strongly doubt that I'll ever be able to do any Lord of the Rings tournament stuff at Adepticon anyways. If it were in the same, even if it were in the same hotel, I don't think there'd be a chance. So the Dead Men of Dunharrow alliance there. Yeah, sorry that that didn't quite work out so well. Thanks, Abadu. I could definitely use some of this because we still have ourselves some Adepticon voice. So thanks, Abadu. Appreciate that. I hope that the weekend's been treating you really, really well. Here, let's really get some decent light maybe on these hooves because, well, they're going to be that snow around them. So thank you so much, Splinter Brush. And Splinter Brush, if you wanted to share anything in the chat, maybe some Adepticon pictures or something like that, please go ahead and do that. So you have yourself a good night. So now I'm extra. Well, if I only had enough terrain to just do a Lothlorien style table, I wouldn't have done the winterizing of stuff, but I think I pretty much have enough for almost 2. Well, and I also have the files so I can print more. So there's that. Again, just doing these little dots here. Then we take our blending brush. We're not wiping those out completely. We're just toning them down a little bit. Yeah, that's the tree kind of gets in the way of that, so I don't think I need to do too much more there. I want to try and get some more of my light up here. See if we can do that. So an awful lot of paint on that brush here. Let's work our way around this tree. This is where the liner brush really plays a major role. Is again working around obstacles there. Working a little bit of Prussian blue into this, just like we did on our other ones here. So it's not so much about the value here, it's the color. We're just trying to introduce something a little different here. In a couple of key spots here. A little bit right there. Maybe it's gonna be interesting trying to get that going up here. All right, so maybe not too much more, and then a little something here again with that blue. So it's more of a color thing than it is a value thing. And there might be a little bit of a value change, but it's again more about the color there. Let me see if I can get some of that on this. Even, I'm gonna get some of that on this bow. So yeah, some of those edges a little bit too stark. That's gonna need some more of our lightest light over here. So back to our fast matte white. There and there. I guess I'll have to just come back with some of my darker blue along that edge, so some of the indigo there. Ah, that's better. Did we... I think on the other side of his shoulder there. Okay, we did that, but not up here. That's... I knew there was one section where we're really missing a lot of the lightest light on the armor over here. Let's do this. Alright, there's some. In a little bit here, I might actually go get a refresh on the medicine because that's running very low. We don't want to run into the situation we did last night where it was just completely exhausted. There was no medicine left. That was a very sad thing to see. It was a medicine-free stream for about the last 45 minutes or so. Blending brush, there you are. Again, it might look like it's dry, but that all that means is it's set. It's not dry. Because we can still manipulate it, can still blend into it, all those good things. Looking to get a little more light here on that face. I'll have to think, yeah, let's go back to Van Dyke Brown and some of the asphaltum too. Asphaltum's been out there a little while. We have to break that down some more. Alright, let me get some of there's just a bit of fuzz or junk on that brush here. Let me try this one instead. Next thing we'll be doing is our dark blue on our freehand here, because I do believe that has set. So yeah, I'm gonna just do a real quick refresh on the medicine here, and we shall return in a minute. Don't go anywheres. We shall be right back with more of our Cav here. Just want to make sure I got my screen. There we go. we have returned with new supplies. We have supplies. Hopefully they will last us the rest of the stream. And as we mentioned, we are going to get down to this right here. Start putting some of the dark in our freehand, which will do a couple of things. It's also supposed to clean up some of these edges too, where things might have gone a little bit wonky there. Oh, and of course, for folks that haven't been here, well, haven't seen us since before Adepticon, this is not a new backdrop. It's just another one of those same cutting mats. It's the exact same cutting mat. It's just new instead of completely, absolutely trashed like the other one was. So it's the same exact backdrop. It just happens to be a clean one. And I do have, I think, at least 3 more of these, maybe 4 more. I should probably actually get me another pack of these just so that we have them. So thanks so much, Moonlight Minis. And it's funny because I actually had to change the camera settings just because of this backdrop not being destroyed. I mean, the other one, for the most part, at least 70% of it was just black. And again, it started out, it is exactly like this one. Now, I think this one won't quite end up like the other one did. First of all, we're not doing as much of the super spattery pre-glaze as we had been. Also, not really going to be doing basing videos on this one. So there won't be quite so much glue all over it like the other one did. So again, I quickly change. This is just a couple of minutes, right? Maybe. A couple of minutes, all it takes. Now this is one thing that's kind of the same as acrylics, is that with the oil paints and the acrylics, the darker colors is just easier to get thinner lines. So that's why, the Reaper liner paints. Essentially, indigo to me was always Reaper blue liner. And Moonlight Minis, I'm sure you have a whole bunch of stuff planned for ReaperCon. I'm guessing that's probably the next convention that you'll be at, right, Moonlight Minis? Let's see, okay, well, that took off a little more than I wanted. That's okay, we can always come back. So that is fabulous. I hope that you have a blast there, of course. Yeah, I did a little bit of dark there. You know what? Let me see if I can separate this a little too. So trying to plan more for 2025. Essentially, send off a whole bunch of the stuff that I would normally have to bring with me. Just send that to Reaper so they would already have it. And then all they'd have to do is just take it to ReaperCon, so then the big challenge is just getting me there. So yeah, Moonlight Minis, that's what I'm kind of... I saw Reaper Dave, because Reaper Dave was at Adepticon, and I said, well, there's still a whole lot of recovery that still has to happen here yet. But in the meantime, what that does, and I mean not just cameras and lights and all that kind of stuff, but I was actually gonna send some miniatures too. So this way, instead of me having to bring the miniatures with me, they would already be there. So hopefully that is going to work out. I know that a few of the, at least a few, even way back in the day, there was a few artists that just had basically a box with their name on it. Let me here do this. So I would get a couple of the extra little display things, kind of like the ones we were using here. All right, there we go. Bingo. What about this side? Yeah, we need to clean up this side a little bit too. So I figured all the stuff that I would normally use at Fort Wapple, instead of trying to drag it there or ship it there every year, just it's a box that just lives there at the Reaper factory or wherever. Now that we've done this, I can start to think about actually getting my latest light on the freehand. Let's see if we can do that here. So that's what I'm hoping for, Moonlight Minis. Essentially, kind of just use the rest of this year to reset, rebuild, recover, and then 2025 would have more of a fresh start to it. And things would already be in place. Well, again, like all that stuff there at Reaper. So here we go again, doing this, adding the lightest light there just at that one point there. So yeah, obviously it would be great if we could do that this year, but there's just way too much stuff to recover here. Just the house stuff alone is going to, well, it's just going to take the rest of this year, but that will still leak into 2025 for sure. Get the, yeah, you can see it. Okay, here we're going to get that light is like right on the edge of that bit of freehand right there. Let's work this in here. Right on the end of that one too. Now that's almost a bit more of a shadow, so I don't want to do too much of that one. Let's see if I can make these a little lighter here. Again, just a fast matte white. Yeah, definitely Moonlight Minis. I mean, basically just the garage went up. I chucked a bunch of stuff in the garage, and I haven't even looked inside there. I think I've been inside there maybe 3 times over the last 2 months. Just because, and I haven't been able to do any stuff on the interior of the house for months. That's all got to change now. Oh yeah, for sure, Penguin Shark Minis. Let me see if I can. Okay, good. I can get that lighter stuff here. Sort of like the leaves of Lothlorien here. And of course, with the yet another type of 3D printing, it's meant for trying to find another way, another storage method for stuff that's way bigger than just the miniatures. You know what? I'm gonna go the other direction here. Let's get some darker turquoise. But that phthalo green from Williamsburg, that is still very much not dry. Phthalo green is not the fastest drying color anyways. I can try and get lighter on those folds, but eventually Well, when in doubt, make things darker, right? That is in the Book of Wapple. Where are we at? Here we go. Think we're all right with our edges on. You know what? I better. Now we got pretty good with our darks in that shadow area. So that's all good. I might just tone that down even more. Some of the indigo up here. Did we give him? He does have his. We need to do the lighter stuff. That's what we need to do on his helmet here. Some of that here, over here, and then right there on the side of the cheek. And now here we certainly need to really amp up some of the highlights here. Yep, that went a little wonky, no big deal. I'm going to grab me some of my indigo here. And we'll go the other way. Cavalry, how you doing? Thank you so much. You know, well, now that we've got this one reasonably far along, let's get our... Okay, that's our Thursday stream. There is our Friday stream, and now here's our Saturday one. So we're getting a nice little start here on our Galadrhim Cav. And thank you so much. Appreciate that, Cavalry. I've been wanting to do these guys for a very long time. When we first talked about some winter elves many moons ago, and I just, for whatever reason, it seemed like I always liked the Lothlorien sculpts. Now again, these are 3D printed, but I do actually have the plastic ones, old as they are. Oh, and I have that Haldir sculpt too. That's the other thing I gotta do, is get that Haldir sculpt prepped, so we can do that. Nice to see you there, Trashorama. So Trash, great to see you. This is sort of our new favorite one here to do with the film noir, of course. This is the Fey Enchantress. This is from Titanforge, and believe it or not, they were actually at Adepticon. Fortunately, they were just right across the way from the registration, so I could actually walk over there and see them. Now, watch what happens to all that contrast. Not so much, right? I mean, it just looks very dingy. There's some shading there, but it sure doesn't look like there's a whole lot of it. That's because it's not all about light and dark. It's about, you can even see it right now. This is about 15%. Yeah, we're about halfway there. Closer, closer, there we go. So again, that is all about color contrast, not so much the value contrast. And of course, let's break out Baby Bobo here. Again, we won't have him for too long. We did give him a new base there. Watch what happens. Same thing. So he, being much more of a grayish tone, mine doesn't really stand out from that painted backdrop. We bring back the color though. Different situation. Look at that. Looky there. So I'm definitely going to have to make me another one of those so we can do that same thing again. So Cavalry, thanks for hanging out with me at Adepticon. It was great to see you there. I know everything was super busy and crazy. So I do thank everybody for being patient, and it might have taken more than one attempt to get to Fort Wapple and see me and stuff. So I appreciate folks that did that. You know, I'm just going to darken that down again. So happy Easter there, Trash. So Trash, I hope everything is going really well. Ooh, that is... You know, I'm going to use this here. Yeah, we're gonna have to get some more of that indigo here. Up there. Reinforce that line. I might take some of that Prussian blue, stick that there. Now some of our lighter stuff here. Let's try that. Well, have a good night's sleep there, Trash. And again, appreciate you stopping in on your way to Sleepland. We'll try our light. That didn't quite go where we needed it to. I think those are. What about this tail here? Well, it is sort of in shadow, so I can only do so much here, though. Well, let me get some of my reflected light here. Again, remember there's going to be that snow. Snow and icicles, just like we did on these guys. Stop back over here to some of my turquoise. And that's going to go on some of these. The armor leaves here. Let me try this again. Again, just reflecting all of this. That really needs to be reflected somewhere. And we're going to also reflect that here too, I think. A little tiny bit there. And then boy, I need to get back to the indigo here. Holy smokes. Okay. That's fantastic. That is very fantastic, and great to see at the dinner there. And thanks, of course, to JJ for doing all that, and of course, many thanks to Gailtip for taking Tony and myself there. So that was appreciated. Let me see if I can take a little touch of the. That's going to have to be later there. That's a little bit on the darker. There we go. Okay, maybe let's try this. Okay, good. I didn't want to get a huge change in value. It was just a color there. Yeah, so a little bit of that blue. So I'm glad that your first convention was a fantastic one. It was well, with 2,000 extra people there, that also made it really nuts. And again, everybody that stopped in the Fort Webble to say hi and everything, that is much appreciated. I tried to be there as often as I could. Do I want to go with the dark? I'm going to try one more thing here with the light. Let me just try this. It's got some of our radiant green in there too. Right along this edge here, because that's, yeah, that was a little too dark. Try some of that there on the horse's saddle. I don't know. I don't want to do too much on that scale mail there if that gets too light. Oh, here, let's smooth out some of this. And I think we need to do a similar thing over here. Let me see if I get more of our light up in here. I think we probably also need some hint of a reflection there. I don't want it to be as light as that edge. In fact, I might just hit that edge again with our lightest light. Calibre. Well, hopefully, maybe in the worst case scenario that happens again, there will be some decent brushes in the dealer's hall or the vendor's hall there that you can snag in a pinch. because I'm sure there must be somebody, and there's at least someone decent one. Oh, and again, of course, we appreciate everybody that did get these special ones that Lethal Shadows did. So many thanks to Lethal Shadows for making those brushes, because I do believe that they all sold out, including the tips and everything. So again, thanks to everybody that got those. What? Yeah, see that now that that's been on there a little bit, it really does set very nicely. Still working with the fast matte white here. Got so well some of the fungus here. I believe all of these are pretty much Make It Epic basing printed bits. Van Dyke Brown, I think. Let me start breaking this down a little bit too. So I need to darken these branches here again. If there's going to be that snow on them, we really need to darken those down. Now a killable, maybe. Oh, here's the thing. We were just talking about having a whole bunch of stuff all ready for ReaperCon. I mean, literally, I would just send brushes, paint, all this kind of stuff, and it would just sit there. Maybe you have yourself, I don't know, it's not the most efficient way necessarily, but maybe you kind of have a go bag, right? And it has brushes in there, at least emergency brushes, so that should you take off again and you go, geez, I didn't pack brushes, at least you'd have something in there. Maybe not your ideal favorite brushes, but at least something that you can work with instead of having to snag new ones. But that is definitely something I'll be doing for ReaperCon, is having paint and brushes and essentially a whole nother kit of stuff that can just live there. Hey, this Mechanic Games, no, there'll definitely be a Fort Wapple at Adepticon next year for sure. No, just like every year. So how you doing there, this Mechanic Games? You know what? Let me get some of this. There we go. A little bit of that Mars Violet in here. So thank you so much, Armored Wolf, for posting a link to the GoFundMe campaign. That's been super helpful. All the folks that have contributed to that, I do want to say thanks. And obviously that's still helping out to this day. Especially with all the weird stuff that happened with the vehicle and such. So yeah, I know it's again, it's kind of a thing where you say, well, I'm not really utilizing that stuff, but it's there for you, right? When you need it, it's all there. So we have now we just saw the example of this, did we not? Contrast is more than just light versus dark. Where we have turquoise and magentas and greens, not so much the value, it really is just the color, and we'll also do saturation levels. Now, of course, when we first started this thing, and again, we're 2 hours 36 minutes in, a couple hours ago, this here was looking very messy, was it not? And this applies to contest entries, armies. Just go ahead and start doing it, because if you can't overthink it. I've seen people overthink it to oblivion, where they basically never start. So you really want to just go ahead and just start it. Now, there's a few ways to achieve this. Color goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. That's why we do the pre-glaze. However, we have also been experimenting lately with the darker primer stuff, mostly because, well, there's just no way to get at certain areas. Okay, like this one here, our Cetric conversion. There was no way we were going to get at some of these areas. So instead, we did the darker primer, right? And then we did more of the dry brushy stuff, and then did maybe a third of the way and started to do some glazy things. So again, kind of inverted the process a little bit. That's something new that we've been doing, but it is another way to again kind of achieve this result of you want that color somewhere going everywhere. So this mechanic games, hopefully Adepticon does work out for you. You know, let me try and get some of our black on this base here. Yeah, let's do that. I just want to see before I keep throwing more and more darker glazes on the base here. Let me do this. One sec here. And this is not the blackest black either. Right, this is kind of our precursor to it because that definitely is not quite the same stuff. And I'm just going to use this here. And we'll just hit this along the edge. It's a little more here. So I don't think I really want to get any darker with the color on the base. Again, we got all that snow that's going to happen there. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Pretty good there. So again, this is just like the black 3.0 is what we would do at basically the end process. It's the most expensive base painting material known to humankind. And I'll show you on Kathy's resin beaster. You get a chance to kind of see, well, or is it? I think you can still see it here. Let me see. Well, you can sort of see it there. But yeah, that blackest black. You can also see it in my Instagram post. This one might also show it. Where's our Faramir? You'll be able to see it. There it is. So you see that down on the bottom of the image there? That's not me doing any kind of color thing. That's the blackest black. And that's black 3.0. It's pretty darn expensive. It's from Stuart Semple. However, I recommend you use that other stuff first because that is much stronger. So yeah, Abadu, it's it really does make a big difference. We have even where there's almost no base now, and again too, I use it to also cover up the magnet sheets there, too, that are on the bases. Let me see, do we have, oh yeah. So again, that's more of that doesn't have the blackest black on there yet. Oh geez, I thought I did the snow on him. Alright. We'll have to get the snow on his base now. And we'll have to get some of that blackest black on Galadrhim. Let's see, yeah, those, so they're almost 100% clear, all of our icicles there. So close. And again, that's the whole story behind the army here, right? That Galadriel accepts the Wintry ring, and hilarity ensues. Let me get some of this darker again. These are from Make It Epic Basing. Our Conquest miniatures had the, again, some Make It Epic leaves on them here. And you can go back and watch these being painted on the Twitch channel. Again, these are the things that won the best painted unit there in the Resin B. So check those out. They're all available. Might have even taken one of them and put that on the YouTube channel. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, I'm going to darken you a little more. Use some little bit lighter something here, right along the edge of that. Maybe a couple of these rocks. That's all going to be snow, and here's going to be another big chunk of snow right there on the horse's leg. Alright, let's do some more of our A little bit of light right there. Some along the edge here. Yeah, not too much up there. Alright, that we need to go back to our lightest light, I think. Yep, let's do that. Let's get some of our fast matte white here. I don't want to break it down so much that it's a pinline wash. That would be no good right there. But we need a couple of lights in here, especially. Yeah, that's a piece of armor there. There's another little bit down here. Let's see if I can't also throw a little light reflection down in there. Okay. This bit right here needs an edge along the top. There we go. That was another one of those things where I just kind of had to wait for it to set a little bit. Let's get the rest of that stirrup. I think we could use some of our lightest light on top of this row of armor plates, and again, it's almost like a cylinder, right? It needs a whole chain of lights or a chain of darks all along the whole pathway here. Let me see if we can get a little sparkle right there. Okay, that's good. Anything lighter here? Maybe something lighter. Yeah. Just like that. Throw more of our light over here on this stuff. Maybe his little top knot there. This thing too. I think I could still get this. Yes, I can make that lighter. Okay, that's good. Certainly need it maybe a little bit on this edge too. You notice it's not a whole continuous edge. It does end at a certain point. I don't think we ever did the eye on this guy here. Let's do that. Got some of our Mars black. I gotta get some more thinner into this too. Here, just breaking this down. First the edge on that. Now the eye over there. There we go. Just for whatever reason, wasn't quite working out. I think I need to get some little something lighter on the bottom lip here. Maybe the upper lip too. Is that going to be too much maybe? Yeah, we'll have to not do any more. No more light there on that. I think that's pretty good. This quiver, I'm gonna go with some more of the indigo on there, I think. Couple of spots. First one back here. There we go. And we never did get our lighter brown on that part of the quiver, so we need to get that going. A couple of areas here. Steal a little bit of the asphaltum into this, well, basically the same lighter skin tone color. Let's get these arrow shafts. There we go. You know what? I'm going to do that on this side too. Something here. So it's, I don't know if it's more expensive, the Stuart Simple Black 3.0, than it was when I first got it. I'm still working on that first container. Blending brush, where you at? It's okay, I just slap that on there. Take this, and we're not doing this. It's straight up and down. It's a tapping motion. It's not a dragging motion. So all it's going to do is, well, get you a nice smear. Not much beyond that. Just a smear. We don't want it to be smeared. Now this is definitely going to need some light, since we're going to have that, again, a bunch of different clumps of snow here that would reflect in some way, shape, or form onto, especially the hooves there. I wonder if I can get a little bit more light. And I'm using the radiant green here. That essentially makes a radiant gray. See that darker color on the end of the brush there? Yeah, Abadu, I could swear now again, it could have been years ago that I got mine. I think it was in that $24, $25 range. So, woof. Yeah, that's a bit of an increase. Never did get the darker spots on certain parts of our horsey here. So yeah, I don't use very much of that at all. It's really, really minimal, and this stuff is a whole lot less expensive, and also too, this is much more rugged. That Black 3.0, that is really, I mean, you can just practically rip that right off the minute. You don't have to rip it off. You can just almost rub it off. So that definitely a little bit more long-lasting. So you kind of do that first, right? The not black 3.0, and then your final bit is the black 3.0. Try and get a little more light on the shafts of those arrows. Let's see, Grand Oracle. I have the violet already. I believe I've got the green and the yellow. That's what's coming here. It looks oh, and the Venetian red and the rose madder. That's right. So I've got the green and the yellow. I don't know what was the fourth one there, Grand Oracle. Unless maybe I just didn't see the fourth one. I might have spaced on that. So if you buy 4 bottles of the black 4.0, you get $50 off. So 120. Well, down to 70. I mean, that's oh, here, let's get a little bit of our light there. So yeah, Grand Oracle, I must have not seen the blue. I mean, it's okay. It's not like I don't have to get more. Actually, I do have to get some more Scopia of the terracotta variety. So maybe I'll get that blue when I get the terracotta Scopy. Yeah, Abadu. That's why I do like the other stuff, because it pretty much is just a final, and I can almost do it. I don't want to say as a glaze or whatever, but it is very thin down. Will get me just a hint of some light here on these stumps, branches, whatever. So maybe some of these rocks here. Nah, I don't like that. I'm gonna just do this. Grand Oracle, now it's actually, believe it or not, it is not as light as those other ones. It is kind of in the, well, that's why I'd like to think of it as the radiant indigo, because it very much is in that, whereas these brilliant ones, they are definitely one or even two steps lighter. Certainly one for sure. And so I'm looking forward to seeing get what the rose matter can do, because I think I maybe just never looked at the Richardson. Remember, for a while I was looking for rose matter because we had purple matter, brown matter. Again, no idea what that's going to be able to do, but I just figured that could be yet another one of our skin tone type things. So when those show up, there will definitely be, well, there's a bunch of Coertherian Oils episodes that I certainly want to do. The Venetian Red, I think I'm going to try that against a few other things. Some of our Mars Reds and Mars Violet, and of course our Terra Rosa. I don't think I can really, I don't think I can make that much darker. And that's about as dark as it can be. Now, you know what, the upper part of our horse's mouth, that needs to be lighter too. I'm going to take a quick little look-see at what we did. Okay, this is the one from last night. Yeah, well, not that much lighter, but still a little bit lighter, I think. Okay, that's kind of neutral. I didn't want them to be too violet. Yeah, now the horses, they are sculpted of, they're not quite so necessarily maybe as realistic, say, as like one of the Diwali horses. I think Highland Miniatures, those horses also, well, it's hard to say. Printing Goes Everon tends to have more realistic-ish horses. The Medbury ones tend to be more stylized. I think Kurzlucky's trying to go for more and more realistic horses each time around. Is that, no, that's going to need some of the Prussian blue here. Because that is a little too light. There we go. There's some shadow. So again, great to see you this Mechanic Games. And again, I hope everybody has a fantastic Easter, or you're already having one. For all of our friends in Australia and Europe. So darken that down a little. Let me see if we can come back here. I might need to actually get some fast matte white out here, because this is starting to get a little bit well, it's also starting to set a little bit too. Come on, there we go. Another one here. Oh, yep, we need to get some dark up there. That never did get its light. Let me take a look at the chest on this horse. Yeah, we can get a little bit of light in there. Yeah, and there's some violet in there, some of our gray. We do, oh, wait. There. Once again, blending brush here. So we got those very obvious blobs of color, which now, again, this is a hard to reach area. We like to call it blind blending. So instead of, well, you can see I can just have the miniatures on the bases. They don't have to be, what is it, sub-assembly stuff, right? Hashtag no sub-assembly with the oils. You'd be amazed that not just, it's a time saver, yeah. More importantly, though, you don't end up with, you put that cloak on there, you put the miniature on the base, and you realize, well, yeah, first of all, he's going to cover up all this fantastic stuff I painted on the base, which wouldn't have been on there in the first place if he'd been covering it up. Also, you tend to go, yeah, probably needed to be a shadow here or there because, well, you can't see it because that part is not attached to the miniature or something along those lines. So again, doing the little tap, tap, tap. We're going to take this and we're going to do that. Anything else? Let's try and get a bit more of our light here on that fur. I'll leave that alone because that's pretty much in shadow. You know what? We gotta do a little something here. Especially since you could say that that's also supposed to be in shadow. I want to see. Oh, good. There's now those don't dry terribly quickly. Grand Oracle, the brilliant colors, and even that, well, our indigo, our brilliant indigo or whatever, that also is not exactly a fast drying color. I don't know if Richardson has a, oh, what would you kind of call it, a drying chart the way Williamsburg does. Thanks, Armored Wolf, for posting a link to the Patreon page. I will be trying to film a Patreon vid tomorrow. Most likely after all the Easter stuff, though. You know what? We need to do a little something there with our light and it's a blending brush here. Again, just gotta take this, tap, 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 push that around. Now there's a little something there. So Landrist, how many more of your 45 whatchamacallits you gotta do there, your Bretonian Cav? And you were saying 60 by 30, right, for the Green Knight on his base? That's the other thing I have to locate is the Green Knight. Hopefully there'll be some good freehand areas on him. You know what? I might just sneak in a little more light over here. Again, that's nowhere near a white or anything like that. So that's good, Landrast. Throw in a couple more little lights here. Something like this. Maybe a couple little edges on this tree over here. Yeah, those are really looking spiffy for sure, Landrast. Okay, and Van Dyke Brown again for 2 edges that I'm looking for. First that. That one's not too bad. Let me see if I need to. Yeah, I should probably still do that with this boot too. So still working with the. That's the Van Dyke Brown there. Okay, maybe take away some of the chompers there. For a horse, is this? Yeah, that's pretty sharp there. I'm gonna take away a little bit of that. I might still try to get a little more reflected light in that one. How's his eye look? Okay, we can pretty much see that over there. Ursula Gnome, how you doing? Bonjour. Everybody please give Ursula Gnome a follow. And my apologies for my je ne sais pas français right there. Definitely very, very poor with the French. And my apologies for that. I know it made it very difficult to try and interact and ask questions and such, but everybody please again give Ursula Gnome a follow. And this is what we were painting. Well, let's see, this was our Thursday stream right here. This is what we were painting on our stream last night. So more of the Galadrhim Cav right here. Where's our Galadriel? So Galadriel's taken possession of the One Ring. So it's a Wintry in Lothlorien. And that is why everybody has their wintry bases on here. Again, with some icicles and snow. And we're working with oil paints. Oil paints right out of the tube. And here's our, well, let's get our big 3 brands out of here. So there we go. These are the big 3. Windsor, Newton, Williamsburg, and Gamlin. Now we have started to add some more to this, but these are your basic ones here. And this is the one we're starting to use a little bit more. That would be the Richesons here. At least I think that's how you say it. You know what? Let's get a little bit more of the separation in his fingers. 3 hours ago, that's what he looked like. So he was just primer. Thank you so much, Ursula. Appreciate that. All right, that's a little bit of our asphaltum. Again, looking to darken down just a touch here. And of course, if you wanted to post anything in the chat, please go ahead. Things that you've been painting on stream. And of course, well, we've got this is an old-timey piece right here. We did do a new base for him, but yeah, this was originally first did this maybe in 2011, 2012, something like that. Good old baby Bobo there. Hey, there's surface tension. Oh boy, surface tension. Funny you should mention that. Because sometimes I forget and I'll think this is Van Dyke Brown because I'll see it like this. And I'll go, oh, maybe that's Van Dyke Brown. And then, no, it's actually this. It definitely doesn't have quite the same properties. It's not as staining. It's not as opaque. It's not bad. It's certainly not bad stuff. And of course, surface tension. If you want to share anything in the chat, please go on ahead. Do I need to? Yeah, I'm going to try and get me a little bit more of the indigo here. in some of the darker areas. So great to see you again there, Surface Tension. Happy Easter. Trying to really sharpen up that edge right there with the indigo. Right next to our lightest light. Surface tension, yeah, where's that, can we, right, like the Terra Verte right here, look at this stuff, and it rates it, same as you might say for our Egyptian violet and stuff. So surface tension actually, well, my sister is coming to get me in about 11 hours from now. Yep, she's supposed to be swinging by this way to get me. Because what is it, 1:14 here? Oh, you must have had your time changed, surface tension. I was telling Kathy's mom that it would be a little bit less confusing because you would be here at more your normal time instead of the weird daylight savings time. For some reason, I thought it might be today, so again, happy Easter, happy time change. Losing that hour of sleep, which is always very fun, right, surface tension? Sith Trainer, how you doing? Great to see you. Now, Sith Trainer, well, if you wanted to share your miniature there in the chat. Yeah, surface tension, believe it or not, still kind of feeling some of that here. Of course, then you pile Adepticon on top of that. That's, yikes. Alright, let me get back to some of my light here. So see you later there, Abadu. Again, thank you so much for being here as always, and happy Easter. So I think we're probably going to stick with trying to get the last couple of Cav painted, so we have a decent start on this. Thank you so much, surface tension. Appreciate that. Thanks, surface tension. Could definitely use me some of that for sure. Still trying to keep the Adepticon voice going. It took a beating for sure. Yeah, we did get our dark there, so we're good on that. And surface tension, hopefully the snakes go well, and I know you were super excited about what you were able to find for your big beastie there to make up for the sudden drop in pointage there for the Cornish hens. Actually, Lost Kingdoms, they sort of shared a little bit of a preview, and I'm thinking it's more of the Cornish hens actually. It certainly seems to be very chaosy. I'm going to try and get the... we're pretty good on our light there. I think it's the other... Yeah, I think it's the other hand where it's been a little bit tricksy. You know what? Okay, that is his hand there. This one has been a little bit vexing right here. Yeah, surface tension, there's always some really nifty stuff. I have been starting to print out some of the creature caster stuff now. And I've got some creature caster terrain. I think we might paint, maybe on Monday we paint that terrain, or maybe Thursday. There will be object source lighting involved, which I know is totally shocking, right? That there would be object source lighting here. Absolutely shocking and horrifying. Let me see the, what is it? The collections, right? That's what they call them on My Mini Factory. I have to kind of actually go back through those. I haven't looked at those in a while. There's probably a bunch of files that I said, well, after Adepticon, I should get these so that I can do either whether it's terrain or whatever. That's fine, Sith. Well, Sith, one of the things that you can do, and you've seen us do it a couple of times here, hopefully on stream, is that basically film noir. So if you were to take pictures of your miniature and then essentially kill all the color, just make them black and white, sometimes that will reveal, again, maybe just how much contrast you have, and not just value contrast, but color contrast, saturation contrast, all that good stuff. So everybody, please check out the Twitter link there that Sith Trainer just posted. And if you have any pieces of advice there for Sith, please go ahead. Hey, Mikey, happy Easter, happy Sunday, nice to see you again. I hope that everything is going fantastic. Need to get a little light under there. What about this side here? Not so much there. Might hit a couple of the chompers here. So yeah, surface tension, I know I've got, well, not just miniatures, I've got busts and large scale stuff, but I have to see what other terrain things we have sitting there. And I have the elven boat, which is definitely going to be done dull Amroth style. So we're going to have all kinds of nifty freehand on it for sure. No problem there, Mikey. Adepticon was absolutely berserk. And it is, well, I think it was basically about 20% bigger almost than it was just the previous year. So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right. To the degree that what I'm thinking of doing for next year is at least setting aside a certain block of time where I'm at, say, the creature caster booth or something like that, and I'm doing painting there. Because at least it would have a specific time. Folks would know if you want to see Jim painting, you got to go there on this day and at that time instead of just kind of random, instead of the randomness like we have now. So let me do some of the later stuff here again on the right here. Anything more up here? Okay, a little bit more there. Let me check on the horsey. Let's see if we didn't make it too. No, actually we have a little, maybe even a little bit of room to maybe make some things a little bit later on the horsey here. So that's really cool. That's very cool there, Mikey. I think there was a bunch of folks that came from Europe to do Golden Demon and such. Everything that I put in there this year was all nostalgia stuff. Like Baby Bobo, and of course here, and Kathy's Balrog. So I did do a new base for him just so they could be in Sigmar, but otherwise, yeah, anything I had in there was stuff that I had done maybe 10 years ago or 12 years ago. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more of my later stuff here. It just seemed very appropriate there. Yep, Sith Trainer. There's a whole bunch of YouTube vids. Of course, there's also the Patreon page with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. Also, too, Sith Trainer. The Twitch channel here is kind of like a YouTube channel. So all the sessions, they all get saved. So like all of the sessions where we've been painting these guys, all you have to do is just go back and they're all saved. Kind of like a YouTube channel. There's no, I can't do whatchamacallit, I can't isolate them into playlists, but they all have a thumbnail. So you should be able to, yeah, just kind of look through the thumbnails and you say, okay, yeah, I want to see that. So again, all of those saved, and I will the Halo stuff. So the new Halo. Remember we painted what 3 of these guys on stream. So one of those is going to be going up on the YouTube channel tomorrow. Yeah, Sith. Hopefully it's there should be lots of little tidbits there. You will certainly see your fair share of that film noir that I was talking about. Again, it is a very handy way to see, okay, do we really have some interesting things happening with this figure here? Boy, AD, I have actually, I'm pretty sure that the bamboo print is done, because that only had, yeah, that was maybe about not even an hour left when I started the stream, 3 hours and 19 minutes ago. But I do have it's just some very simple miniatures. Printing those up for some more skin tone tutorials. So au revoir there, Ursula. And thank you so much for being here. Everybody, please again give Ursula Gnome a follow if you could. So it should be here. Let me move this out of the way. And hopefully it says, it should be saying print success. Here, let me, whoops, that's not where we want to go. That's not where we want to go either. Let's see what Bambi Cam says. So it says great success here, I think. Yep. There was nothing, it was just it was a small elven boat, and then the first part of it's like no, whatchamacallit, not a pagoda, and not a gondola either. So yeah, that was our last, actually that was a week ago. I think, yeah, that was our last stream, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, the last stream before Adepticon. So yeah, those were fairly simple. The next thing I have to start printing is some more of that Inca terrain. It's really big pieces though. It's really nifty terrain. I wish that I could kind of use that in some ways for my Easterlings, for their terrain. So the new Halo miniatures, those are going to be from Mantic, and that is what, November of this year, or fall. It says fall. I don't know if that's November, September, October, but they said fall of this year is when the new stuff is supposed to hit. Get this going. I don't think there will be time for me to get another print going before I have to head out tomorrow, because, well, let's see. Now they're going to be here in about 10 hours. Do that a bit more over here. Get me a little more light there on the side of his face, and let's see if we can get some light here on his, get some of the fur there. Take that, and we're just taking away a little bit of it, not too much. Surface tension, I really have to do some searches I guess on my mini fact, I don't think I saw anything on my mini factory, but maybe Cults 3D might have some LOLO stuff. I mean, I doubt it, but should that happen, that'd be fantastic. I actually have to start printing up a few vehicles for Little Wars. I might try to assemble some too. All those kits are actually out in the garage. Let me try and do a little bit more of, yeah, here I get some more of this light stuff. No AD next week. Well, I gotta film a whole bunch of videos because we are a little bit behind on those. I was hoping to start working on that kitchen floor, but that might have to wait till after Little Wars. Actually, surface tension, there's a lot of hilarious things that you can do, because remember, you can do the BUF, and that's part of the Operation Sea Lion campaign book. You've got if you check it out on the Warlord site, you should see that there's the nuns, there's the cricket team, and they actually had a cricket pitch. So they went all out for, and they also have Dad's Army surface tension. I know that is, I think that's a box of metal figs that they've got going. So yeah, there's Dad's Army, there's the BUF, complete with the Mosby there. Or Mosley, sorry. Yeah, I think it was Mosley. So yep, this Mechanic Games, all of these figures, they're all 3D printed from Dandelion and Middle Earth. They're absolutely fabulous, and we'll be getting back to our Tomb Kings here as well. Some of our Titan Forge stuff. We have a chariot prepped and ready to go. And of course, surface tension. I've got that from Flames of War. Oh, wait a minute. How's about we actually grab the right one? There we go. It's like, why does that look so different? Actually, so surface tension, it would be fabulous to have like a Michelle figure, right, with the trench coat and everything, and and of course they gotta have the berets too, right? Well, see you later there, Sith Trainer, and again, thank you so much for being here, of course, appreciate that. Let me get a little bit more light there on the leg. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see if I can get me a little more dark on that surface as well. So AD, I'll let you know when I start printing up that Pimion figure. I'm thinking his base is the same size as that crow, that two-headed crow. And then I also have the infantry version of the rider, and that's got a lot of object source lighting on it, so I need to make a base for that. Now, of course, surface tension, there must be dozens of different onion seller figures there, because I swear at least 99% of the cast at one point or another was disguised as an onion seller. I mean, I'm trying to think who wasn't disguised as an onion seller. I think even the British airmen were disguised as onion sellers. Here, let me try some of this. And of course, AD, I might do a couple of different versions of it. Because if it fits enough on camera where I could stream it, then we can maybe do a live stream of one of those. But I would like to try and do a multi-episode arc on that. Because I know the two German officers. Oh yeah, glop, right? Surface tension. That's what he would say. Wasn't it glop that he always said? Let me do this here. Now, I don't know if the Italian guy was ever disguised as an onion seller. He was only in, what, that one season, right? Surface tension? Let's see what we got going on here. Let's do a little more of our dark down. So I'm glad I did that. That kind of was needed there. And they did do a reunion of that show at one point. Alright, let me get my... I think we already did as much of our indigo as we could do out there. Let me, I don't know, I might need to get me some more fast matte white out here. Actually, oh, you know, surface tension, that's right. I have to see if I can find that on DVD. I think I tried looking once, and I don't know, I'll have to look again and see if that's on DVD somewhere. I'm trying right here. No, not too much. We'll have to come back the other way with our dark to take some of that away. But I also need a little bit more of that light right there. Oh, yeah. We need to do that on this side too. Blending brush to do this here. Take that edge away. What are we doing over here? We're gonna take this. That was too much. Now it's just right. But what's interesting, surface tension, is that as far as historical accuracy of the uniforms, even the vehicle, it was very, very accurate. It was just so farcical. You know what? I'm going to try me a little bit more of this. Right there. Like so. A little more of the light right along our edge here. Now that we got that dark in place. A little more along that edge there too. Now that, here, let me get, I'm just taking a quick look at my reference picture here. 1 second. Yeah, there was what was? Oh yeah, you have to do that the bed with the glowing knobs, of course. And it was a bedpan, right? Was the radio, if I remember right. And I do think at one point they tried to help the British airmen escape. They hooked up balloons or something like that to the bed, and they tried to fly him all the way to England. I'm going to take my blending brush here to some aspects of the lights up here. I've been waiting for those to set, and those are set. I can start to play around with those a little bit too. Bit more of my light right here on the top of the quiver.
So say we all.
Thanks, Inganes. That is 45 months worth. Thank you so much, Inganes. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. That is very much appreciated for the Adepticon voice. So happy Easter there, Inganes. I hope that you are doing very well on this Sunday. And of course, happy Sunday as always. We continue with our Galadrhim here. Trying to build up the this army as fast as we can. And again, we will start doing some of the sword and board Galadrim Knights, and of course we're also gonna try and get to some of the Royal Guard. We'll see what we want to do freehand wise. So, and guys, I hope that everything is going well. And if you wanted to post any of your painting stuff there in the chat, please go ahead. I'm gonna try this one more time here. Okay. Yep, I think we got that set now. Try to do a little bit more with my indigo. And again, this is not the Williamsburg indigo. It's the traditional Winsor Newton indigo. Yeah, we've kind of lost a little bit of our extreme dark there. Okay, that's better. That was my blending brush for this. And we're going to do this here. So AD, if you wanted to share, I don't know if you had a chance to share any of your stuff in the chat there. And of course, again, same thing in Ganes. And I don't know if you had a chance to share your Mastodon link there. Surface tension, although the fabulous oil painted miniatures, I think you probably already did. Like I said, the brain is squishy, so doesn't remember things like it did just a few days ago. Let me see if I can get that dirt right along the edge there. Some of those darker spots here too on his fur, which we'll take the blending brush to. I thought so. There's surface tension. It's just very unique because it's that Mastodon link. If it was a Discord or Instalink or something like that, it would kind of blend in with the other ones. But that one's always really unique, so that's the one thing I can remember if I saw it in there or not. Also, too, not so sure if there's a certain hound that, or if that is the hound not getting the usual walk since it is Easter. I'm going to see if I can't get some of the darker indigo there. Blending brush. And thank you so much, Armored Wolf, for posting a link to the GoFundMe. Again, we appreciate all the folks that participated in that. It's been a huge help, for sure. And obviously, well, any contributions that are a huge help to continue, well, recovering stuff here. Who knows? I might still need to buy at least one more package of that kitchen flooring. I think I have just enough, but you always want to have one extra package of that in case, well, there's some breakage. So I think I might still need to buy at least one more package. So the Hound is still going to demand that little that little Easter parade there with the human. Continue with some of the lights are on that tree, but definitely going to have the icicles on that. Let me see if Galadriel's icicles are all. Yep, those are just about. Yeah, those are pretty much dry and clear. Yeah, so that's the heavy gloss, and you can see they're not breakable or anything like that. Now that could, that's something I want to do. Find an appropriate creature caster figure to do some kind of a wintry thing with the snow and the icicles and everything else. I'm trying to get this brush down in here. I'm going to have to change the angle a little bit. Maybe you can't quite see it. But I needed to change the angle. Okay, yeah, I think now that's what we needed to do. Try and get a little bit of that darker indigo here, that just to kind of represent a shadow on the saddle. Where's my other blending brush here? That's already fairly dark in there. Let's just do a little bit more on that. And we'll see if we can also do a bit of our darker violet right along there. Do I need to try and go lighter with my turquoise here? I don't know. Let me see what happens with this. That might be a little too light, but let's give it a shot anyways. No, not at all. This is where I really need it here. That's also a little lighter there. So trying to basically reflect the cloak here onto that barding on the horse. Do the same over here too. Also on that edge, yeah. We could probably use a bit of light there. Oh, what about this? That is, it's looking a little bit beefy there. We're going to try and cut some of that away. Get it further away from the edge there. Okay. These are looking a little strange that they're isolated like that. Blending brush here. There is no paint on this brush. This stuff was done potentially hours ago, and as you can see, it still is blendable. It might look like it's dry. It is not dry. I'm going to get me just the teentiest bit of the fast matte white out here. So I'm going to put a little bit of this. That's their Gamlin fast matte white. Don't need very much. There's just one edge here on the armor that I would like to get. That's on his leg right over here. right on the top of this. Ah, there we go. That just wasn't going to work unless I got a tiny bit of the fresh fast matte white out there. Again, along the top edge there, and see if we can do this one too. It's just amazing, right surface tension. And whether it's something small like this or something really large. Now it's going to be very interesting doing that massive 28 millimeter boat with all that freehand. It's almost going to be like getting to do just a regular painting in 2D. Do some more of my light. There we go. Now, of course, it would have been interesting if I had. Well, I could always print it out again and do it as an elven boat, and then we do, say, a portrait of Galadriel or something like that on the sail. One more round of getting my latest light right there along that edge. A teensy bit of scumbling right here. So instead of just a regular brushstroke, it's just kind of a, well, more like stippling, I guess. Now, surface tension, it does seem like more folks are doing it. Well, you have some of the other, well, whatever painters, right? The ones that do all the YouTube stuff, they seem to be starting to do stuff in oils. But we are always the linseed brotherhood here, right? Surface tension. This is always the linseed brotherhood. Always has been, always will be. We are not fair weather friends to the oils. And who knows, maybe someday we actually do have a line of oil paints that are not just artist oils. Maybe they might be for miniatures. Yeah, no. I was thinking of fooling around over there, but no. Let me see if I can get some light on his fingers right here. I mean, it's just so unimaginably long, right? Surface tension. When I had to do the acrylic stuff there to get that Adepticon stuff ready to just pack up a few minutes later, or a few hours, it just took so much extra time. It was insane. If it didn't have to be dry, I mean, I could actually gotten some sleep before Adepticon. If I had used oil paints instead, I would have actually gone there with some sleep. Alright, I don't think I can do any more with the indigo on the other side of that. Let me see here. We're going to try and looking at, maybe not that. Still working with the fast matte white here. Let me see if this is still, so that's not really the fastest drying color either. This is the, oh, what is this stuff called here? And this was sent to me here. Okay, there was a Christmas present, actually, transparent red iron oxide. So we'll try and fool around with that for a few things. Potentially, I guess, even maybe for some rust as well. But I'm going to use that here. on this on the fungus here. It is kind of an interesting tinting color there. So we'll have to give this a try in some of our color theory and oils videos for sure. Let me look in here to see. Not that, not that, not that either. So I think we'll just to go there maybe. I'm gonna try and put a little touch of this here. Again, a bit of a glaze with this stuff. So it seems like it's a very souped up version of, well, burnt sienna. It's fantastic surface tension. I'm looking forward to some colors coming here, some more of the Richardson stuff. A couple of the brilliant colors, aka the, well, like our Radiance. And then Rose Madder, which is a color, again, I've been thinking of trying to secure here for a while, but I didn't realize Richardson made a version of it. I've always been looking at, say, Williamsburg or whatever, or Gamlin or Windsor Newton. Hopefully not too much of our white there. Okay, that's good enough. Let me see some. No, I was just thinking, do I need to get a bit more of my light on this edge up here? I might just try that. Okay, good enough. Actually, surface tension, it's only a series 2. And again, Richardson paints are less expensive. So, where the heck is it here? So that Rose Madder was $12.20, which would probably make it a series 3 in Richardson, because 621 is the series 1, 904 is series 2. So yeah, that's only a series 3. I'm looking at this is kind of here. Let me take some of the indigo, some of this. Okay, there's a whole kaleidoscope of colors on that stirrup right there. Got some of the indigo here. So yeah, Richardson is, the whole idea of Richardson is that it was supposed to be a less expensive Williamsburg. So basically a more affordable version of Williamsburg. And the tubes sort of resemble Williamsburg in that so this is the actual paint up here. I think that was Pale Rose something. Oh boy, do I even have it here? I think it might have gotten shifted around somewhere. But yeah, that was the weird Windsor Newton one, wasn't it? Actually, we have this other one here too that I haven't had a chance to try. So a Ruby Madder Alizarin. We haven't had a chance to try that one. That's a much cooler color, as you can see there. I think we'll have to do a video on transparent reds, right, Grant Oracle? So another color theory in oils, but on transparent reds. Do a little bit over here. Let me see, is it maybe on this shelf over here? I just, oh wait, oh, it's the one with the zinc white in it. Pale Rose Blush. Yeah, that's the one with the zinc white. Yep, because that's pigment white number 4. That's zinc white. That was a bit of no bueno there, wasn't it? Oh, it's, well, we'll just have to figure out a way to use that on our painted backdrops or something. I mean, it's most likely going to be made out of cardboard, so it's a pretty absorbent surface. But I do think I might actually be heading over to Good Enough Painting because now it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and well, time is a counting here till when my sister shows up and says, "Hey, it's time to do the Easter stuff." So there you go. That's basically 4 hours right there. Another one of our Galadrhim, and that's what it looked like about 4 hours ago. So see you later. There's surface tension, and again, thanks Armored Wolf for doing all the moderations. Thanks Bithron for doing the clips. I want to say thanks to everybody for all the bits, the subs, the follows, the cheers, and of course the raids. Oh, thanks, Arid. Appreciate that. Everybody, please give Adepticon wife a follow. Now, Arid, if before I head out, if you wanted to share your Pinterest link there in the chat, please go ahead. So, Arid, I hope that your stream was really fun and that you've been getting a lot of your jewelry stuff done. So, again, everybody, please check out Adepticon wife. Some real fabulous jewelry right there. Go check that out. And now, Era, do you have well, let's see. I don't think you have any more streams coming this weekend, right? Because I think this is one of your big weekend streams. So thank you so much again for that. Appreciate it. And I'm going to head on over here to Good Enough Painting. We'll get this raid countdown here. No problem there, Arid. But everybody, again, please check out that Pinterest link there that Arid just posted. And here, let's get our side by side by side. Here's our last three Galadrhim Cav, and we will, I do believe, we'll be working on. We got to get the two with the sword and board there. So thank you so much, AD. Appreciate you being here. So let me see. Oh, okay. Well, Irid, I hope that you enjoy that. I kind of forgot all about that thing. So we're just going to count down here to raid Good Enough Painting. So thanks, Armor Wolf, again for doing all of the moderations. All right, we'll see you guys on Monday.